We are live. We are live. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Hope everybody doing good. I hope all is good with everybody. I appreciate everybody that is going to be tuning in and everybody that watches Alexis episode in the future as well too. Episode 94. We're moving up. Time is flying. We're getting close to the century mark. Close to 100 episodes. So happy Sunday to everybody. Hope everybody's blessed and stuff. Last week we had the core one on, soccer Hall of Famer, soccer legend here from Antigua, reside, in the Virgin Islands. Great episode. I recommend a lot of athletes that's coming up to definitely take a look at the episode. He had a lot of great advice, his story and just his approach to the game, how he handled the game. It was amazing, just hearing the core one story, Mr. Shepard, Keatley, KS, the legendary Hall of Famer, hailing from Antigua, as I mentioned earlier. So it was a great episode. I was in awe, just being in the presence of a Hall of Famer, man. Hearing his story and his trials and tribulation and how he approached the game, playing cricket as well too, not just being a soccer legend, But man, it's a great episode. So you guys definitely take a look at that episode. V.I. Legends on YouTube. Definitely check it out. We have so many different episodes, and big up to all the different guests we have had on the platform that shared their story. I definitely appreciate it. They taking their time out to share their story. It took a lot for them to come out to do that. So I definitely appreciate them as well too. But today is Alexis Day. So this is going to be a great episode. I'm definitely can't wait. I'm excited and I'm pumped to hear this episode. As you guys know, today is Women's History Month. I feel like every month should be Women's Month, but unfortunately, this month is really focused on Women's Month. So, Alexis is kicking it off this month in March, with us with the Elite Podcast. So it's definitely going to be great. We have a lot of different lovely women coming up in the future as well on the podcast, so you guys definitely stay tuned. I definitely want to give some shout outs and some big ups to, let me open up my phone and get the information, as well too. So I can make sure I'm accurate and everything, so definitely want to give shout outs to some of the female coaches back at St. Croix, in the Virgin Islands, doing their thing with the softball, with the Little League and Parks and Recreation. A lot of the different women sacrifice their time, to help the youths and inspire them and be there for them. So some of the different female coaches and helpers and everybody that's doing their thing to help the youths them, so I wanted to give them a shout out. So I want to shout out Renice James, Jamelia Henry, Janea Lynch, Rashida Rollins, Anicia Bermuse, Renea Guzman, Lisa Thomas, and Jennifer Brady. I definitely want to big them up, as well. And definitely big up to, Sherry as well, Sherry Simmons Haywood as well, So I definitely want to big up all those lovely ladies that always sacrifice their time and helping the youths and doing their thing. And any name that I pronounce wrong, I apologize. If you guys got my number, call me, yell at me, scream at me, and let me know to get it right. Next episode, I will definitely get it right. But I apologize if I pronounce any names wrong. So definitely big up all those lovely ladies. If you guys see them in the Virgin Islands and St. Croix, if you guys see them at St. Thomas, definitely, big them up. Tell them thank you for sacrificing their time from their family and stuff like that to help the youth them as well too. Also, we have a volleyball team from St. Thomas. And I want to make sure I get this name right. So the volleyball team name is Team Island Mix Elite. And right now they're currently in Boston. I'm not sure if they're traveling back to the Virgin Islands today or tomorrow. But definitely want to big up the Island Mix Elite volleyball team. The manager is Mark Daniel. Coaching staff, Carissa Broadway and Sacha Gums. So definitely big them up and big up to all the parents, Miriam and all the different parents that travel with the team and supporting the girls up there. I hope they're doing good. Safe travels and safe trips back to the Virgin Islands. So definitely want to give a shout out to all the lovely ladies, doing their thing, for Women's Month and stuff. And next week we'll do the same thing, big up, next set of different females and stuff moving forward. Well, I'm not gonna blabber my mouth and talk too much longer because we have the lovely Alex Corbitt Washington waiting for us. She's ready to tell us our story, not our story, excuse me, her story. And then we definitely gonna have some fun. I appreciate her taking her time out to share her story with us. So this should be great. I appreciate everybody tuning in and supporting as well too. If anybody watching on YouTube, definitely follow the channel Vida.I.Legends as well as share the channel with all the different locals, and also your friends and stuff like that as well too. So we will be introducing Alexis Corbitt Washington. Welcome to the Elite Podcast.
Hi, good night.
Good night. Good night. How you doing? How's everything?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm honored to be on the podcast. Honestly, I was really excited to be invited. So happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. We're honored. We're definitely honored to have you as well too. So how's your day going today? By the way, happy Sunday.
So far, so good. So far, so good. Made it to church, made it to the gym. So checked with that, and then made sure to get myself together and presentable for the podcast. So it's been a good day. It's been kind of warm here, warm for DC area in March.
Yeah, in March, right? Yeah, I was saying the same thing to someone the other day about, man, it's been weird this year with the weather, even in Florida.
Yeah,
Usually you get some like cold fronts coming in, and be cold throughout the times, but it's been warm pretty much the whole time.
yeah. I'm not
So
complaining because we're not used to the cold, so I don't. Every time when the winter time rolls around, I'm like, why do I live here again?
yeah, that's snow. Does it snow a lot up your sides?
I wouldn't say so. Every couple of years, you'll get a really massive snowstorm that will shut everybody down. But it's been very, very mild this season, last season. So it hasn't been much. You got to head up to like Boston or something like that to really get some decent snow.
Get some snow. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because sometimes the snow could be rough. It looks pretty when it first come down, but then when it start melting and people driving and it gets muddy and yucky and brown and your car skidding on the roads is a whole
It's
new
not cute.
ballgame.
It's not cute.
Yeah, it's not cute. We use it that way. Yeah, it's true. So well, so tell us about your upbringing, your childhood. Growing up in St. Croix, the Virgin Islands. How was that like? How was that experience?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was the best childhood. But I mean, I'm coming from my very biased perspective because that's the only childhood I know. So I grew up in Catherine's Rest, and so that was between a goat pasture and a cow farm. You had Catherine's Rest out east, but it was good. My mom was a first grade teacher at Wangitagarin Elementary
Okay.
School, and my dad worked over at Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs. So it was great. I did Proby Larson Elementary School and Elena Christian Junior High School, and then St. Croix Educational Complex. You and I are just 2 years apart,
Yep,
coming
yep,
from Complex Barras.
yep. Bara, yeah, definitely. We don't know the greatest, the greatest.
Exactly. So that's in a nutshell. But one of the biggest things that I was able to garner from the Virgin Islands public school system is an appreciation for culture. The
Very true.
teachers, whether they were teaching us how to do quadrille or explaining to us why they have all of these various sugar mills all over the island.
Yeah,
It was from the ag fair to seeing the Mokojombi. Culture was
yeah.
was very, very big, at least for the teachers that I came in contact with. And that's been able to ground me as I've moved to United States, keeping my culture close, every day.
Nice, awesome. So, question: quadrille. Do you know to dance quadrille?
I do, yeah. I learned in elementary school with Miss Lampe, Miss Mirsta Lampe. She actually dances with the cultural dancers all now.
Oh, nice, nice. Shout
And
out to her.
yeah, so she
Definitely.
she taught us. And we had a group, at Pro B who would dance quadrille for the school, performances or events and stuff. If they were having a queen show or something like that, and they had the little intermission,
Yeah, yeah,
we would do our dance and such. And I didn't at the time, I didn't really appreciate it for its historical significance and all of that. I just like to dance.
yeah,
And I thought it was interesting. But as I've gotten older and then of course gone back home and even in high school when I learned the origins of quadrille and how it came about and how resilient the enslaved Africans were, and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, this is more dear to my heart. So,
yeah.
but
That's true. That's true.
short answer, yes, I do dance quadrille. I remember tutne and balance
Yeah, balancing. Yeah.
all of that. All of that. Yes, I remember.
So, I got a funny story. When I was in, so I went to Cotabato,
Mhm.
and I was in the third grade, and I had to, like, me and some of my classmates, we had to dance quadrille on the stage,
Yep.
and I wanted to say it was for like a pageant or something,
You know? Yeah.
and my partner, which she was like my neighbor, she had lived more down the hill from Harrigan. She was my partner, and so she had made a mistake and put something in her eye. So her eye was kind of messed up, and I had to dance with her. Her eye was all swollen. So I was like so upset because like her eye was all messed up, and like I was like so embarrassed, like I had to dance with her. I
Uh,
feel bad now because I'm an adult, but at the time as a kid, you know,
Yeah, no, I
so
get it.
yeah,
In your
but
short life, like that was an important thing.
yeah, it
That was
was,
crucial.
yeah, it was,
No,
so
I get it. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
good. You dance quadrille as well.
Yeah, on the stage in front of all the parents and the teachers and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
but it's funny. We think back on it and we laugh about it, but it's amazing that we was able to do things like that in elementary, because now like elementary these days, especially up here in the States, like kids don't really get a chance to do those type of things.
I wouldn't say so. Not that I know much about what happens in the States for elementary school students. I don't have kids.
Yeah, yeah,
But I mean, I would imagine that they're not necessarily dancing quadrille. They
yeah, no,
may be learning other cultural things.
yeah,
They may have a cultural day. I would imagine they have a cultural day and you go in and you represent your culture.
yeah,
And
culture, yeah.
prayerfully, if my husband and I are able to have kids, best believe they're gonna come in some madras and they're gonna show some quadrille.
Yeah, yeah. They gotta represent that culture.
Exactly,
They
they're gonna
got to.
represent.
Yeah, they gotta represent the foundation. So,
Exactly, exactly.
so what type of student were you in elementary and throughout your school career in the Virgin Islands?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, good question. Like I told you, my mother was a first grade teacher at Wayne. So I was definitely in these books. And even in the summertime, let's say I'm in second grade, going to third grade, my mom would go to one of her friends who was a teacher in the third grade. And if they had any books left over, any activity books, she would grab one for me. And then my younger brother, she would grab a book for whatever grade he was going to.
Okay.
And she was home for the summer. So that morning, we would get up, get ourselves together, and we would be doing activities, getting ready for the next grade. So I would say I had a fairly studious childhood, but I also played a lot. My dad and my mom made sure that we didn't have the woes and stresses of adults. They kept their, concerns to themselves, and we were pushed outside to go run in the grass and run in the neighborhood and play in the beach and climb the trees and get genep and all kind of stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there was a balance. But as you know, it's super hot back at home in the summertime. So when the sun was like noon, we had our books, we were studying, whatever. But then by 2 o'clock or so, sun isn't as intense. That's my mom would say, "Get out my house." That's a quote, a direct quote. "Get out my house."
Yeah, yeah.
And so we would go, we would have a good time, and we would hang out with some Crucians would know Miss Janice Tatine, as I called her, Auntie Janice. And some people in the Pemberton family. Like I would call him Uncle Roy, but I was Janice Tatine's brother. And we would just be up and down St. Croix with them.
Just
And
ramping.
ramping in
Yeah.
St. Croix with my mom, because they were also teachers, right?
Okay.
And so I was surrounded by teachers because of my mom's profession. And so education was paramount. And my dad was in the science field. So he
Oh,
would
nice.
have questions about, okay, are you guys having science fairs yet? What's going on? So I feel like no matter what environment you're in, it's very much the home that makes a difference. Whether you in the projects, in a valley, between a couple of farms like me,
Yeah.
it's what you have at home and who's pushing you in the right direction. So I feel like you and I had a parent or parents who were like cracking up and making sure that we were going the right way. And so to answer your question as what kind of child I was very much in the books. I love to play, love to swim. I was in the beach. I was in Caribbean dance school
Okay, nice.
with Monty and Miss Curlis. I was in Girl Scouts. I was in everything after Sunday, as my mom used to call me. I was a busy body. Everything after Sunday, I was in something.
That's good. That's good. That's good. You was active. You stayed active. So you kept your mind working on everything. So that's awesome.
I'm still a busybody.
Hey, you got to stay busy until you can't be busy anymore. So
Exactly.
because they say when you get up there in age, you slow down. So you got to take advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Growing up, how did you have any siblings?
Yeah, yeah. So I am the middle child between two guys. My older brother played baseball, like yourself.
Yes.
So Kareem Dennis.
Big up to Karim. Yep.
Yeah, he remembers you. He
Yeah,
was like,
definitely big up.
from West.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
definitely big up
he
Karim.
even mentioned that he were out there playing modified pitch out in West, and you were, with your coach practicing and stuff. So
Yeah.
Kareem was, I remember many, many days watching Kareem playing baseball and such like that. So that was my older brother. And then I have a younger brother, Archie. And Archie also was active. I think he did like karate or taekwondo or something like that. But he was mainly in the band. Come junior high and high school, that was his thing. He was a musician, and he played, I want to say, like all the saxophones at a certain point.
Yeah.
He that was his art. So Kareem had baseball, and I think he played pan for a certain stretch of time, and I had Caribbean dance, and Archie had his instruments. So there was something to keep us busy and keep us occupied and keep our minds, going growing up.
So if they told to me that you actually played some sports in middle school and in high school, but we'll start with middle school. I heard you was like,
Yeah, that
I heard
happened.
something. So
That happened. So I was at Elena Christian, like I said, and I have always been tall. I was a long infant, and I've been tall ever since. I'm 5'9" now, and I'm assuming I was maybe like 5'7" or something like that at Elena, because I hit my growth spurt, I remember, between 7th and 8th grade. But yeah, so got recruited to play basketball, and part of my rationale was I want to go to college, right? I need to figure out, can I get a scholarship through sports, or can I get an academic scholarship, right? Like the
yeah,
money's got to come from someplace. And
someplace.
I know there's financial aid, but if I could help it, because I saw my older brother go to college, right? and there was financial aid. And I kind of heard my mom's conversation, being nosy, talking to him about financial aid and stuff. I was like, okay, apparently this is expensive. Maybe I should figure out a way to cover this. So they asked me to play basketball, and I was trash. Basura.
Basura.
I was awful. My dad used to joke around and say, well, our team had the best GPA, but that was about it. I don't even think we won a game.
Oh gosh, that's rough. That's rough.
We
now.
shamed Elena so bad.
Jeez.
We shamed Elena. Ashamed to say. Shamed Elena so bad. It was bad. I played. Let me see some classmates. Kenisha Williams was on the team.
Okay.
Chantel Shoy, now Cogman. I'm calling her out.
Yeah, call her out. Yeah, call them out. That's what that's what we're here for.
Vanalise Rivera. Now, Vanalise was a great ball handler, though. Her mom, I want to say, played in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
I don't know if she played for Puerto Rico, but she was on a team and a league in Puerto Rico, and she taught Vanalise. And Vanalise was the cutest, prettiest young lady, but put a basketball in her hand and she will break your ankles. She could control the ball, and I didn't even know what was going on. I'm like, hands up. That's all I got.
That's what usually the top players, they be like, hey, just put your hands up. Just put your hands up. I asked for the ball.
That's all I had. Yeah. That's all I had. Hands up. That's all I had. It was, let's just say that was not my sport. In high school, I was recruited to play volleyball freshman year, so I was JV volleyball, and that went a lot better. Had a great time with my height, spiking the ball. That was my thing, so I had a good vertical, good aim, and that was a good time. That was a good time. But around that time, in high school, that's when you even buckle down further and you're like, all right, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be, in the next 10 years? Where do I see myself, kind of thing? And the books were going well. My grades were looking good, And so I chose a more academic route to pursue for scholarships. And by the time I finished at Complex, I had 3 full academic scholarships to 3 different universities, not including, I think including UVI. So I did the early admission program. So 3 different full rides. So it worked out. Oh, I see Curious said they demolished Elena.
Yeah.
It was shameful. It was
Arta did a lot of that, during those years too. So.
Oh yeah. I will definitely
big up, Carrie. Big up.
They were great, and we were definitely not. I had to find other means of financing undergrad because nobody wasn't going to be recruiting me for sure.
For sure, right? So that's amazing. You mentioned 3 scholarships. So how was that transition from going in from high school to college, especially going from the Virgin Islands? It's funny because it's like we live in the Virgin Islands, we are U.S. territory, but when we want to go to college, we actually have to get on that plane and leave that island and go on that long plane ride. Kind of different than living in the mainland in the United States, where we might have to drive or we might have to fly, but we still on the mainland, but we come, the continent, but we actually coming from the VI, and we actually leave in this small little island, traveling our plane. Like, how was that transition like for you? And how it's a 2-part question. And also, how did you make the choice on which school that you actually wanted to attend?
That's fair. Yeah. So I'll start with which school and then talk about how it was at that university.
Okay.
So the schools were Norfolk State in Virginia.
Nice.
NC State in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then, like I mentioned, UVI.
Yeah.
So I got accepted to NC State first. I want to say, I should say, I got accepted in the fall, but I got notified of the scholarship around February senior year.
Okay.
And that was the larger university. And it just had I got a very good sense of community when I interviewed for the scholarship program, and I felt like I would have a very good home base there. And it was a little bit more detached with the process of applying at Norfolk State. So I didn't really know as much about that particular school versus NC State, where they flew me up to Raleigh to do an in-person interview and speak with the director and speak with the other advisors that were working with the students in their various 4 years. So I just felt like, because I was leaving my home in the Virgin Islands, I needed a place where somebody was going to check on me. Somebody was going to look and be like, Alexis, you good? And that was a really big deciding factor for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Second part to that first answer is my dad is originally from Durham, North Carolina.
Oh.
So that's 20 minutes down the street, down the highway from Raleigh. So I had a network of family that used to visit us in the Virgin Islands, that we would visit them in Durham. And so they were, as I used to say, close enough, but far enough. They weren't gonna just show up, hey Lex, what's up? And be like, I'm like, you're not undergrad. You don't want nobody rolling up on you in undergrad. You don't know what you're doing.
That's true. Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
if I needed help, if I needed anybody, I knew that I could call on family, which is a luxury that not every Virgin Islander can say.
That's true. Very true.
So I was very blessed to be able to have family that I could call, an aunt, a cousin, to be like, hey, I'm moving dorms, or it's cold and I don't have a coat. Can you take me to the mall?
Yeah.
And actually, the first person who was looking out for me was Chicken. You know Chicken, right?
Yeah, I know Chicken. Yeah. Yeah.
So he was in Raleigh. He's a year ahead of me from Central. We were friends. And I was like, hey, I'm going to NC State. I'm going to be in your area. And he came, picked me up. I was like, I need to go to the mall. I don't have a jacket. I don't have a coat. I don't even have jeans. So say it's long jeans,
Yeah.
He was like, okay, come, I'm gonna pick you up. Let me get you to the mall. Let me help you get situated, So it was good to know other Virgin Islanders that were in the area who could help me out. So that was very helpful.
Yeah, that's helpful.
That
Definitely.
segues into my experience of being in the States. First thing, it gets cold, and I don't like the cold. And I wasn't prepared for the cold. My body was like, what is this feeling? What is a shock?
Yeah.
So it was a transition. It was also a big difference going to a PWI, predominantly white institution. Coming from St. Croix, I could go weeks without seeing, at least going to a complex and such, I could go weeks without seeing a Caucasian person. I think we had like maybe 2 white people in our school, the whole school,
Yeah.
So going to a PWI, I was like, okay, this is what it's like to be a minority. Okay.
Yeah.
But because I had a strong sense of self coming from the Virgin Islands, I was like, they don't know who I am. They don't know where I come from. And they're going to see just now. So I didn't have, Kyle's a little arrogant. I'll claim that, But I was like, I'm going to do well. Nobody ain't going to tell me what I could do from what I can do academically. I'm going to do well here. And I managed to do that. But my fashion sense, my best friend Crystal will tell you, was abhorrent. I was looking fresh off the boat, as she would say. I was wearing a uniform,
Yeah.
Cool. We wear uniforms.
Yeah, that's true.
If anything, we got Lion Sunny Isles, but like, my fashion sense was not
up to par. Yeah.
Up to par. But thankfully, my sorority sisters and Crystal, they took me under their wing, and it was a field trip to the mall. And I was, Alexis, first of all, you're not a size large. You're actually a small. Put this on, try this. And so now it's gotten to the point where same Crystal will be like, Alexis, what are you wearing? I know you're going to be dressed up and extra, and I need to know what I need to put on. 'Cause I don't want
Yeah.
to look no kind of way next to you. So
Yeah.
I'm a good student. I've learned. I've learned. And speaking of Crystal, her dad is Trini. So I was able to find a network of Caribbean people at NC State because they could hear my accent. They were like, wait a minute, where you from?
Yeah.
And so it was very helpful. And many universities have it where they'll have a Caribbean Students Association, CSA.
Yeah.
And
It's true.
so she and I helped start that association on NC State's campus. And we were able to get a sense of home and have our culture showcased at the university.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, how did you? What made you decide to join a sorority, and what's the sorority you actually joined?
Yeah. So I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and
Big ups to all, big ups to everyone.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. You know.
absolutely, especially the chapter in the Virgin Islands, chapter of St. Croix. My godmother's chapter for St. Croix.
Okay, nice.
Yes.
That's
So
beautiful.
yes, I joined that chapter. So it has a couple steps to answer your question. So the scholarship I got was called the Park Scholarship. And if there are any high school seniors listening, please, if you're doing service and throughout the island, St. Croix, St. Thomas, wherever, and you are gifted academically, please apply for that scholarship. I will try to leave my information. I'm on the team that
Nice.
interviews students for that scholarship program. It's a full ride. But like I mentioned, there's that service component. So I'm on campus. I'm trying to figure out how I can fulfill my service mandatory hours that I have to do to keep my scholarship. Because I'm getting, my grades, so that's taken care of academically. And I would go to various service events, whether it's Delta Sigma Theta, Alpha Kappa Alpha, and other organizations, or just other philanthropic groups. And I gravitated toward Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated because the ladies were doing a lot on campus. I saw a really big difference. Their personalities resonated with mine. And so I definitely wanted to join an organization that fulfilled service to all mankind. And so that's
Nice.
literally our motto and our mantra that we live by. Ironically, my family in Durham that I mentioned
Yes.
are all members of Delta Sigma Theta. And all of them were vexed. I mean, my grandmother, my great aunts, my cousins, my aunts, everybody was like, Alexis, you don't understand that we're Deltas?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Croy, like I told you, my godmother's an AKA. I was a hostess for the debutante cotillion that's on St. Croix. I saw the work that AKAs were doing. Some teachers at Complex were AKAs. So these were the women that shaped me. Although I love my family in Durham, North Carolina, I saw them ever so often, and we kept in touch, but we were ocean and thousands of miles apart.
Yeah.
The people who raised me, the people who influenced me the most were members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Oh, okay.
So when
Makes
I went
sense.
to NC State and I was faced with that choice, I went to the chapter that I knew would be where I could fulfill the goal of service to all mankind and a home that I was familiar with.
That's beautiful. I like that. I like that. Good decision.
Yeah, I think
Good
so. I
decision.
think
Yeah.
so too. I'm biased, but
Yeah. Yeah. Much love to all the others though. So
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, we're all trying to better the African American community and experience.
That's true. That's true. I'm
My
glad you said that.
diplomatic
Very important.
answer.
Yeah, that's important. I'm glad you said that. So this is another two-part question. What were you studying in college? And before you went to college, what you actually wanted to study in college? So
Yeah, That's a good question. It was a process because in high school, I was like, I want to be a dermatologist. So I got to NC State. My major was biochemical engineering.
Ooh,
I know, right? Go
yeah,
big or go home.
yeah. Go big or go home for real.
But
That's
then,
tough.
as I was in the engineering courses and building out my 4-year curriculum, I'm like, where's the room for liberal arts courses? Because I also want to be more well-rounded as a person. I don't want to only do biology and engineering. I want to better myself as a person. And yes, I got to get this career, but I want to learn and be in other departments and see what else is going on. So I changed my major to microbiology, which had less science requirements, and then still again changed my major to biology, leaving lots of room to take courses like anthropology, music history,
Mm,
literature, things that have nothing to do with a cell in your body.
yeah,
But I'm a more well rounded person because of it.
because of it.
So I changed my major 3 times. So I tell everybody,
Wow.
don't be afraid to change a major because you're spending this good money. You need to get what you need to get out of it. Ain't
Yeah.
nobody else going in class with you. So you need to make good decisions for you. So I changed my major 3 times and I changed my career goal about 3 times as well. I went
Wow.
from dermatologist, I lied 4 times. Dermatologist. Then I started working one summer, probably a whole semester or two as a pharmacy technician. And I was like, maybe I'll be a pharmacist. And then I said, no, I don't want to be a pharmacist. So then I went into nutrition and like how you have the label on the box of food that says fiber content, fat
Yeah.
content, all
I
that.
always I always read that every time I go shopping. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So I decided to go to grad school for nutrition science.
Mm,
And I was in a lab a lot because I was breaking down various food components into fiber, fats, and whatnot, carbohydrates.
carbohydrate. Yeah.
And one thing I learned about myself in doing that is that I'm not made for being in a lab. I chat too much. I like people. I like to talk. I like to run my mouth. And I was talking to myself. So I was venting to a mentor of mine. And he said, and mind you, he's like 41 in braces at the time. And he's like, maybe you'll make a good dentist. I'm
Oh.
like, you think so? He's like, yeah, because it's healthcare, which is where you originally started, and you kind of fished around a couple of careers there. It's not 16 years of school, and you get to talk to people. I'm like, all
That's
right,
the
all right.
bonus.
So I shadowed his orthodontist, I shadowed a general dentist, and I
Nice.
shadowed all of the various specialties in the dental field. And I was like, I could do this. That is a screwdriver, just on a small one. That is a Dremel, but a small one. Like all the tools that they were using, I saw my father use in the backyard when he was, building something or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Wow.
could do this. This is surgery. I didn't realize that it was just tools, just tiny ones.
Yeah. Smaller tools. Yeah.
Yeah, smaller tools. So I did a summer program at UNC and then applied there and got into UNC, which is the rival of NC State.
Yes. Rival. Yep. Yeah. Make sure you don't say that too loud. You know.
I know. My
Yeah.
husband who went to NC State doesn't, I mean, you should see his face. If I dare to put on a UNC
Yeah.
even if you say dentistry on it, he's like, what's this? What are you doing? What's that? He will judgment.
Judgment. Even the colors.
He don't even call it Carolina blue. He's like, oh, that's sky blue. That's
Sky. Wow. Yeah.
the
So
other
yeah. That's
blue.
deep. That's deep. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
deep. So I
Yeah.
can't
He ain't
say the
playing.
last time I wore anything from UNC, but that's where I went to dental school. So long story short, I had a through several iterations of my major and several iterations of what I wanted to do professionally. I encourage everybody to have mentors, because you can just kind of brainstorm and shoot off ideas, and they can help, guide you in the right path. And it was through a mentor that I got into dentistry, and 5 stars, highly recommend.
Man, that's amazing. Like how you got into dental.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
wow.
not, I wasn't always like, I want to be a dentist.
Yeah, that's
My husband comments, you see,
yeah,
NC.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna leave that. Hey, I'm gonna leave that up for a while. I'm gonna leave
Yeah,
it up for a while.
yeah, he does not
I'm,
play. He actually is one of the regional coordinators for the NC State alumni in the DMV. So
okay,
he's
nice,
committed.
nice.
He's committed.
Yeah, he's committed. Yeah. So for today, Abraham, we bigging up NC State. Okay,
Yes,
we bigging up NC State.
officially.
Yeah.
We don't have no problems in my house. Don't got no problems.
That's true. That's true. So, how was the first few years in working in dental? Like how did that go? Were you like you mentioned earlier that the tools you saw the same tools that your dad used in the backyard. So I know you was kind of comfortable going into it, but now like dealing with like your first patient and really getting hands on, being on your own. How was that transition like?
Yeah, it was interesting, and I'll tie it back a little bit to one of the reasons why I'm here with Women's History Month. The first practice that I was at was in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, because I did my residency in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I was the only dentist at the practice. And so if you came to the office, you saw me, a Black female dentist.
Yeah.
And I guess the gentleman who came in didn't realize that I was female, and he protested vehemently. He don't want no woman in his mouth. He don't trust no woman dentist. He
Wow.
don't, he was upset. Is there nobody else back there who could treat me? And he put up a fit. And I never saw any of that. I was in the back working, but my office manager, after she dealt with him and told him, like, look, this is who we have. She's talented. She's good. We wouldn't have her if she wasn't, well trained, well prepared, licensed, all that good stuff. So if you don't like it, there's a door,
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that, because they went to bat for me, and they didn't have him come accost me in the back with, any issues. So but that was the first practice that I was at, and it was a good experience. My speed with the various tools got faster. I was definitely well trained, so when I got in there, I felt comfortable. But one thing any new dentist will tell you is they have to get their speed up. You have plenty of time in dental school to do your procedures, and in residency you have a little less time. But when you're in clinic, people really only have a short window to hold their mouth open,
Yeah.
So you gotta get in and out kind of within hour and a half max, depending on what you're doing. So I definitely got my speed up, and half the battle was confidence and having that resolve that I'm meant to be here, and that I know what I'm doing, and I'm doing good work. And whether a patient has an attitude about who I am and what I'm about, whether it's a Black dentist, a Black female dentist, I'm a good clinician. And now that I'm in DC, I have not had that problem. Not to say that that's an issue only for Pennsylvania, but when I
Yeah.
decided to move to DC and join a private practice here, I've had new patients, when I'm speaking with them and kind of getting a feel for what brought them to our office and what are they looking for from a dental perspective, but also what are they looking for from me, to make sure I'm delivering the best care possible. They will say, I kind of came because I was trying to see a Black dentists. They will
Yeah.
tell you, they want to see, they want to support. It's not a black business per se, but they wanted to see a black dentist. And then the bonus is being a black female or being a female. My fingers are skinnier than some men have bigger
Yeah.
fingers
Yeah.
and a
Just yeah.
lot going on in your mouth.
Yeah.
And
It's
so I
true.
had patients say, like, that was so smooth. I didn't feel like I was choking or anything. Like, that was so gentle. And they're like, what else can we do? I wasn't gonna ask before, but now that procedure went so well, can we do some whitening? Can we do an implant here? They're more apt to do and care about their teeth more because they had a good experience. So skinny fingers help out a lot too.
No, I agree. I agree. Me personally, I just feel more comfortable with a female working on my teeth than a male. Nothing against the male dentists and stuff like that. But I just feel more comfortable. I just feel like the female dent. Am I saying this a female dentist or is it a certain terminology? Is it a
That's
so
it.
female
Male
dentist?
dentist
Okay,
is
it
fine.
just feels
Dental,
okay. It sounds weird saying it, so.
yeah.
But I just feel like they're more gentle, like they're more gentle working with you and stuff
And
like
one thing
that.
I will point out is that women see a wider range of color than men.
Okay.
So when it comes to doing aesthetic cosmetic dentistry, and we have to make sure that the shade is right, the gradient is right, the transition of colors on a tooth, because no one tooth has just one shade, There's a couple of different nuances to make a tooth look natural. And women are able to see those colors. And
Yeah.
so we're very good at doing aesthetic cosmetic dentistry because we can see that color spectrum. So that's just some genetics involved there. And
Okay.
my dental school class at UNC, school which should not be named, my class was the first class to have more female students, more ladies than men in that class. And the trend for the career is having more women
With more
as
women.
well.
That's
So
awesome.
it's a good time to be a lady in the dental profession.
Yes, it is. So, side note, when you first meet someone, no matter who you're talking to, it could be relatives, it could be friends, it could be a stranger. What is the first thing you look at when you look at the person when you're talking
Their
to them?
smile, obviously. Their
Okay.
smile. One of the biggest things that attracted me to my husband is he has a great smile. He has one of the most beautiful smiles I've ever seen. And he had braces a while ago. But yeah, he's just got a big smile and a genuine smile. A smile that comes from within, a smile that comes from a good heart, someone that's not trying to scheme over you, like a sly smile.
Yeah.
He's a great man and his smile shows it. And so we were friends for several years before we even dated, and he was just always good people. But that smile, no matter who, now I ain't gonna tell you if I see anything unless I see food in your mouth, then I'm gonna say, hey, you got a little something. I ain't
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
I ain't gonna let you go out like that. I ain't gonna let you look crazy in public. I ain't gonna let you know. Trust and believe. I ain't gonna let you look crazy. Some people will leave you. But if you have a crooked tooth, I'll just, note to self. All right,
Yeah.
cool. You know who I cannot watch without saying something? I forgot. He's I want to say the center at UNC. Back you know what I'm talking about? The I forgot his first name, but his
You
last name is,
this the center that plays for them right now.
yeah,
Yeah, it begins with a B. I
yeah,
was just watching the game last night. Yeah, against
yeah, between Duke, right?
the dude with the dreads. I know you're talking about
Yeah, that,
big
so
cut, back cut, or big fat.
something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. Yeah, I know
Every
you're talking about.
single time I see his face and I see how his teeth and his jaw are arranged, I'm like, babe, you see, if he could be a patient of mine, I would do this, I would do that. So he's one person. Every time I see him, I'm like, I would do this. But for the most part, I know my place. I keep my mouth shut and I don't say nothing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what what's what's the best type of toothbrush to use? Manual or electric?
Electric.
Electric
Yes.
is
Please tell the masses and everybody please use an electric toothbrush. Do not go in there. As my older brother used to say, don't go Hercules. That was when I used to slam his car door a lifetime ago. Don't go Hercules on the door. But the concept of don't go Hercules, like do not go in there scrubbing, or rip up your gums. You're gonna end up with your gums receding. You're gonna have recession. You're gonna have sensitivity. You're not doing yourself any favors by scratching up your face. Just get an electric toothbrush and let it do what it do.
Yeah, you just pretty much you just guide it.
Exactly. Just I have a Sonicare. That's the brand Philips
Phillips.
Sonicare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I have. I've gifted it to friends and family, but that's my favorite one. So yeah.
Okay, because the Philips Sonicare and then you have the or is it Oral
Oral
B
B,
Oral
yeah.
B with the round head? Is it any difference when it comes to the brush heads? Because you know the Sonicare has what? How you? I
It looks.
know.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like with the Oral B you have the round head,
Right.
and then Sonicare is more of the traditional. How you say the flat head? I'm
A
not sure.
regular toothbrush head.
Okay.
The regular toothbrush head. So, I just it comes down to how the preference of the feel in your mouth. That's my 2 cents. So when I tried out the Oral B, I was like, the brush head was a little too big to me. The circular shape I didn't really like. But
Yeah.
if you like it, go for it. Don't get like the cheapest one. I wouldn't say that. Get like a medium priced one that it'll do the job properly and have the bells and whistles to properly clean your teeth. Don't be cheap.
Yeah.
But I just liked the feel of the Sonicare. I actually used the smaller head. I don't know if my mouth just small. I don't know, but I just like that smaller feel. But they will clean better, both of them. They will do a better job than anything you could do with force.
Manual, yeah, with a manual. So pretty much you recommend to try both and see which works for you.
That's an expensive experiment.
Yeah, I
Unfortunately,
mean
I gotta buy both.
that's
I
yeah, it's true. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's
I
expensive.
was yeah, I was able to try both because the representative came to our office and
Yeah,
they gave
you
the
yeah, you got
head.
the luxury. You got the luxury. So
Yes,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's how I could say a preference, and then I could impart that to patients or anyone who's asking. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend go buy both of them.
yeah,
I would just like go buy both of them. Um, so it would just come down to what you think you would like.
yeah,
And if you're like, hey, I'm willing to invest and find out, no problem. Because once you change the brush head, if you don't like it, you could gift the machine to somebody else, and they could have their own brush head, and that's
mm,
theirs.
that's
You
true.
know,
That's
so
true.
technically you could do that, but I wouldn't go out here and say go buy a boat and try it out. I wouldn't say that.
So a lot of the electrical toothbrushes, a lot of the medium price to the high end ones more expensive. They have like a timer,
Yeah.
right? So like you being a professional, what's like the time frame of brushing your teeth?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll do 30 seconds per quadrant.
Quadrant. Okay.
And then leave some time to clean your tongue.
So I'm a person who I research. Like I research everything. Like I research everything. And from researching, I've read up on by even when I bought my electrical toothbrush, it took me like a good 4 months, not 4 months, about good 2.5, 3 months to actually get the right one that I felt like it was good for me.
Okay.
Which even when I made my decision, I was still having second thoughts. But
Okay.
I've researched and it was mentioned that when you brushing your teeth, you always start with the top and then you go to the bottom. Is that true or it doesn't really matter?
I have not seen any literature that said that there's been any difference in the order in which you clean your teeth.
Yeah.
I do go top to bottom. If I clean in the house, I go top to bottom because, whatever is going down, then I mop and that's the end of it, right? So I cannot say that there's anything that I could stand by, this research was done at this institution that says top to bottom, but it is how I brush my teeth though.
Yeah.
That is
What's
how I
funny?
brush my teeth.
You know what's funny? You said that. That was the main reason why what I read it mentioned why top to bottom is because when you clean into the top, anything that it goes to the bottom. Instead of cleaning the bottom first, then you go to the top, and all the stuff from the top drops to the bottom. I mean, you still wash your mouth out, yeah, but that was the explanation. But that's why I read when I researched. But in these days and times, everything you read is not always true. So that's why you got to really research extensively, with stuff. But it's more better to speak to a professional.
Or just visit your dentist every 6 months, and we will happily tell you what we think.
That's true.
And what we've experienced.
I like that better. Just visit your dentist.
Every 6 months.
The importance of flossing.
Please floss every day, every night, once a day. If I had to choose, and I tell this to my patients, if I had to choose between brushing and flossing, I would throw in my toothbrush. Flossing is able to get up underneath the gums and in areas that a toothbrush bristle could never. So it is imperative. I have patients who are like, but I brush like 4 times a day. Why do I have this cavity? If you ain't flossing, you ain't doing nothing. And I've created the analogy of flossing is like using the soap and brushing as using water when you go to bathe, right? If you stand in the shower and just let water run on you, don't come out here telling me you clean. You ain't clean, okay? You still think you're dirty. But if you add some soap on a wash rag and you scrub everything and everybody, now you're clean. So if you tell me you brushing your teeth 3 and 4 times a day, that's cute, okay? But you still dirty. Your mouth is not clean until you have flossed it. So every night, floss your teeth, brush your teeth, go to bed. In the morning, you could brush.
So how many times you should brush your teeth a day? Twice a day?
Twice a day. Yeah.
Morning and night?
Morning and night. If you drink a lot of coffee, you could throw in a time to brush after lunch or something, just to try to get rid of some of that coffee stains. But minimum twice a day. I brush my teeth twice a day, every day. I floss every night. I'm good. It's not a whole lot of work.
So you just mentioned that's perfect because that was going to be my next question. So you said it perfect. You mentioned coffee. If you drink a lot of coffee, what are some of the foods that is detrimental to your teeth and your gums that you recommend to stay away from or ease up a little bit on?
Yeah. I mean, I will start first and foremost smoking. Smoking just tears up everything. I mean, we hear about cardiovascular disease and cancer and all of that, and same exact situation in the mouth. It's a hot mess in there if you are a smoker. There are literally treatments that we cannot do for you because you're a smoker, because we know the surgery is not going to heal. Ain't no sense in even pointing you through it. Ain't going to heal. So you stop smoking, or we just find a different treatment to do for you. Coffee, I would never tell anybody to stop drinking the elixir of life.
yeah.
I gotta tell somebody not to drink coffee, okay? Yeah. I'm trying to be taught by my patients. But what I will say is, do not sip coffee for over like 3-4 hours, okay? Because think of it as a coat of staining every time you sip on that coffee. Hours over hours, just putting stain on stain on stain on your teeth. So if you're going to drink coffee, go ahead and knock it out 30 minutes, savor it for an hour, but don't have it so that it get cold and you gotta warm it up again and then drink it some more and it get like you're sipping really slow. Like, oh gosh, like that's a lot of staining. Why do I care about staining? I think the way I explain to patients is that think of it as like a glue that you're putting on your teeth, that all the layers, think of it as
Yeah.
glue, and bacteria can now adhere to your teeth easier because you
Mm,
have all this glue on your teeth. And
yeah.
then the bacteria can now cause a cavity that much easier. That and the fact that again, it's not cute. It's not cute to have yellow teeth.
No, it's not. It's
So
not.
so I always advise knock it out in 30 minutes to an hour. You can even drink your coffee through a straw, depending on the temperature of it,
I was just about to ask you that.
to bypass some of the teeth. So there's options to help navigate to help navigate coffee. And on the rare occasion, some people will say they suck on like lime or lemon and stuff like that. That's just too acidic. It's not
I was
healthy,
yeah.
your for your teeth. So there's that. And so it's just you don't want to crunch on ice. You want to be kind and gentle to your teeth. It's not a very good habit. So just being careful and being kind. I see a question up here about water picks. So
Yeah.
I like that she used that spelling. The spelling for water picks there, that's actually the name of a brand, Water PIK
Yeah.
versus PICK, right? So water pick as a brand. I actually have a water pick from Water Pick brand, and I have the cordless one because a water pick, to just back up a second, is a instrument that you have that looks on a curve like this and is spewing out water, and use it to flush out any food that may get caught in between your teeth. It is
Oh, okay.
not to be used instead of flossing. It's to be used in conjunction with flossing. Some people have some trouble areas in their mouth where they always catch food no matter what they eat, right? So a water pick is helpful to have some pressure behind the water to kind of push through and clean it out. But it in no way replaces flossing. And I had to preach that so many times to patients because the water pick company will show you all this research and tell you it's great and it's better than flossing. Lies. Or at least when I've seen the research, I'm like, okay, but when I see my patients in my chair, I still have cavities to fix. So I hear the research, but I also know I'm still filling cavities. So that's why I always say, please go ahead, use the floss. And if you have trouble areas that just always catch food, please use a water pick. Now, what kind of water pick? I use the cordless one because when you're shooting out this water, it could get a little messy, water going here, water going there, right? But if you get the cordless one, you could use it in the shower. Everything wet anyway. And so
That's
you can
true.
go in and have your fun, and you could get into all the areas and all the angles that you want to remove whatever food debris, and you don't have to worry about, oh shoot, now I have clean up water from on the other side of the sink or a mirror or whatever. It's all wet in the shower. It's cordless, and you just refill the little water tank at the bottom, and you can go ahead and use it. So that would be my recommendation. I like the Water Pick brand, and I tell my patients to use the cordless one for ease of use and comfort.
Great question. Great question. So you would and when you're using a water pick, is make sure you want to use it after you floss, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, I think there may be some recommendations out there on before or after. For me, I haven't been a stickler on it, right? In my head, just being out of my rationale, I would get the big objects first, which would be the water pick, and then the smaller, be more fine tuned with the floss. So actually, water pick, then floss. That would be
Okay.
just me using my rationale, right? But I may have been told this by a rep or by a mentor. I cannot recall the exact official word on that, but just common sense would say get the big items first, and then go in and fine tune and catch everything with the floss, and then you brush your teeth.
Okay. Okay. What are some symptoms that someone will experience, just brushing or not brushing their teeth? Well, what are some symptoms that how I could okay, what are some symptoms that it's like you need to you need to see a dentist right away?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, you should be in my chair or somebody's chair every 6 months. I will start with that. Every
Okay.
6 months, whether you feel something or not, whether you need to or not, go see somebody every 6 months, because the best thing to do is be preventative. I want to catch things before they're hurting you, before they're a
Mm,
problem. Because if it's hurting you, it's probably gonna be expensive to fix. So
yes,
I'm trying to look
I've
out for you.
witnessed that.
I'm trying to look out for you.
Yeah.
I'm seeing you every 6 months. I would much rather tell you, you know what? You have a small cavity here. Let's get rid of that real quick. Your insurance gonna cover it, and you good. That would be my preferred conversation to have with anybody.
Yeah.
If you wait until your gums are bleeding, strike one. Gums should never be bleeding. And I'm always amazed when my patients are like, oh, well, it bleeds sometimes. And, that's been happening for years. You've had an active infection in your mouth for several years. And I don't
Wow.
know about you, but I'm not okay with having an infection in my body. I'm trying to be healthy. So if you have bleeding gums, you have a problem, and you need to see a dentist and a hygienist so they can figure out how to get rid of the bleeding, give you the tools. They might have to see you 3 times a year instead of twice a year to get a handle on that. They might have to give you a prescription mouthwash to kill the bacteria. But that's strike one there with bleeding gums. I wouldn't trust every black spot you see on your teeth. Just because you have a black spot doesn't mean it's a cavity. Some areas just have staining because you eat good. Okay? Like
Yeah,
there
yeah.
might be a stain in a pit somewhere. I swear up and down, I had all these cavities when I first started dental school. I was like, I see a little black thing here. I see a little black thing there. I have cavities. I went to the exam. They were like, no, Alexis, that's just a little stain, like in the little groove on your molar. It's nothing. Don't worry yourself. So every little black spot doesn't mean it's a problem. But again, if you're going to the dentist every 6 months, they will let you know what is and is not an issue. So, but if it hurts, then I don't think you should need that much provocation to go find somebody to fix it. But I did want to emphasize that the bleeding, which a lot of folks will say, oh, it bleeds sometimes. And I'm like, well, if your eye bled sometimes, would you just be like your third grade partner in
Okay.
quadrille?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
I mess up, I mean, you guys be like, oh, well, sometimes my eye does bleed, but ain't a big thing, I don't walk around with. No, you're going to see your doctor ASAP. And I want you to keep that same energy and that sense of urgency if your gums are bleeding. It's not okay by any stretch. It's not all right.
Yeah. So toothpaste is there so like when I'm in the store and I'm shopping,
You have a
you,
million options.
you have a million options. You have fluoride free toothpaste, etc. Is there what do you recommend, or is it really that much difference as far as the different type of toothpaste or the brands and stuff?
Right. As long as they have fluoride in it.
Okay.
If you have fluoride in it, you're fine. It comes down to personal preference, and like Colgate, Crest, or whatever has different flavors. I mean,
Yeah.
even within the brand, it has different flavors. If you flip it over to the ingredients and you have fluoride, you're good. And of course, you'll have research. People will come out, well, fluoride is bad and it'll kill you. The amount of fluoride you have to consume in order to hit a toxicity level, your stomach is going to hurt from just licking down all that fluoride. And
Yeah.
unless you have some mental issues that would, make you want to eat fluoride, that is not something that normal people will do. That's not an item. Like, you know, you're not going to hit that toxicity level. The little bit that you just smear onto your toothbrush, you're not going to have any illnesses or chronic concerns going on. So the short answer to that, if it has fluoride, you're good to go. They have fluoride-free toothpaste out there. I do not recommend them. So yeah, that's my stance on that.
And mouthwashes, pretty much, is it the same thing as toothpaste? You know,
They
you
are
have the
not
fluoride
created
free.
equal. They are not created equal. I
Okay,
recommend the mouthwash that has fluoride in it. So I'm going to nerd out for like 0.5 seconds. Okay.
go ahead. Yeah,
So after there's fluoride in your toothpaste, right? Fluoride is a negative ion. Water has a slight positive charge to it. So if you rinse your mouth with water after you brush your teeth, that fluoride that's supposed to be protecting your teeth is not going to try to bind up with that fluoride. And when you spit out that water, out goes the fluoride. No benefit, no long-term exposure to the fluoride to help protect your teeth from bacteria. So what I recommend to my patients who are very keen on rinsing out their mouths after they brush their teeth is to get a mouthwash that has fluoride in it.
yeah,
That way, you're not going to lose all this fluoride. In fact, you're going to get a nice full rinse of
yeah.
fluoride.
Fluoride rinse. Yeah,
You'll spit it out, and then you're good to go. You'll get long-term protection from fluoride. So as far as mouthwashes go, more so than toothpaste, they are definitely not created equal. And so the purple Listerine, as well as a brand called ACT,
yeah.
they have fluoride in them, and those are the brands that I recommend to my patients.
Okay, I use AC.
There you go. You're
Yeah,
out. I'm sure from your research, you sound like a person, like you say, you do all this research. I'm not shocked at all that you're already using,
yeah,
the recommended products.
yeah. Especially with my experience and me being lazy and not going to the dentist and having to get my teeth extracted and do surgery. So yeah. So
Who don't hear it will feel.
yeah,
I
I
hear
felt
you.
I felt it in my pocket and I felt the pain.
See?
So
So I don't want anybody to feel pain,
yeah.
So
Yeah, so
definitely
please,
get
yeah,
the
every 6 months, like our professional Alexis have mentioned. Um, I was gonna, oh, so since you have become a dentist, right, a professional, what is the biggest change you have made since becoming a professional in the dental field? That you have added to your everyday living, that you was like, oh, I was doing this wrong, I was doing that wrong, etc. Like, what was the biggest change you made? If it was brushing or the type of brushing you was doing or the type of toothpaste, etc. Pertaining to
Yeah.
yourself.
So the biggest change was actually I did not appreciate how important flossing was. So when I went to dental school and learned more about it, that's when I was like, oh, this is vital. I have bacteria that's still in my mouth, no matter how impressive I think my flossing is. So I picked up the habit of flossing regularly. And I went to Dr. Fabio down in Sunny Isles, with a lot of people from St. Croix went to Dr. Fabio. But I guess I just it never got in my head. I'm sure
Yeah,
that he said this. I'm sure that he explained this to me, but again, who don't hear will feel, right?
that's true.
Like
That's true.
unless it really affects you. And so I hadn't really had any issues dental wise. And so it wasn't until I went to school I was like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah,
That's disgusting. Let me make sure I'm flossing every night. So that was the biggest change. And then we actually got electric toothbrushes gifted to us by those companies when we first
Nice.
started. So I had a couple of electric toothbrushes before I was using manual. So I got my dental life together
That's good. That's good.
when
That's
I
good.
started, but I really tried to motivate my patients to get serious before they have to shell out $5,000 to get an extraction and an implant and a
Yeah,
crown. Because it
it's
will cost you $5,000. I'm not.
it's a
It's a
lot.
lot of
It's
money.
expensive.
It's a lot of money.
So now, so let okay, let this is for educational purposes here. When you when you going to brush your teeth, should you wet your brush first and then put the toothpaste, or should you put the toothpaste and then wet your brush, or you could just put the toothpaste on the dry brush and brush your teeth?
I put my toothpaste on the dry brush because I have plenty of saliva in my mouth. So your mouth is wet unless you have a condition where your mouth is drier. um
Uh-huh.
Several patients who are on a lot of medications, high blood pressure medications, or mood altering medications, so if you're on antidepressants and things like that, that can cause dry mouth as well.
Oh wow.
So unless you're on some other medication, whatever saliva is in your mouth should be more than enough to lubricate and brush your teeth. Now, that may sound crazy, but it works. And
Yeah.
again, remember the conversation about water with a positive charge, and then the fluoride on the toothpaste.
Fluoride. Yeah.
So you want to try to reduce how much fluoride loss you're getting. So, but it's not,
Oh, okay.
it's negligible at that point because you're not spitting it out immediately, or you're not rinsing off the toothpaste. If you're wetting the toothbrush and putting your toothpaste on the toothbrush and then putting it in your mouth, like, you're fine. Like,
That's fine.
you're,
Okay.
you'll get the fluoride.
You get the fluoride.
We'll get there. It'll get there.
Now, the importance of cleaning your tongue. You go to the stores and you see you have the different tongue scrapers and stuff like that. Kind of enlighten us or educate
Yeah.
us a little bit
So
about that.
honestly, I don't feel, I mean, this is a personal 2 cents on this. Like, I don't think it's as necessary. Some people, some of my patients, I will say, have a condition called hairy tongue, where the papilla on their tongue are a little bit longer. And so it will catch a lot of debris from the food that you're eating and drinking. So for those patients, yes, those additional instruments are helpful. But for the vast majority of us, toothbrush on your tongue and go for it. And don't overdo it, because you can actually reduce how well you can taste food if
Mm,
you scrape your tongue too much. So be gentle. Don't go Hercules again on your tongue, right? But just go ahead and use your toothbrush head, get around pretty good. Even if you see a little residual white, that's probably your toothpaste that is now in there. But as long as you've gotten through the whole surface, you're good to go. And I would definitely recommend that everyone clean their tongue, because your breath could still stink from your
that's
tongue.
true. That
Yeah,
is true.
that is a
That is
thing.
true.
That is a thing. I remember in elementary school, they used to say that your tongue stink, and I was like, why would they tell people that? Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, they would be teasing, the kids and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my gosh, kids are brutal, and it wouldn't even be the person breath smell. It would just be your upper lip or your
yeah,
teeth.
yeah, yeah. You know,
I don't know where we got this stuff from.
yeah. When you kids, man, you hear all kind of stuff and you make up all kind of stuff.
We
So
make it up. We were brutal, but we survived ourselves.
I was thinking, because we leading up to our to your story, and I know you was you're a dentist, and I was thinking, do you ever take time just to like think about your job and realize the positive impact you are making in so many people's lives, just because in the time where we are right now in this world is very visual, social media, image is number one, it's everything, so and like we mentioned earlier, when you first speak to someone, you're looking at their smile or you're looking at their teeth, so I know you a lot of people come to your office, and they might be dealing with some personal issues and confidence due to their teeth, or jacked up, or their breath, etc. Do you ever take time out to realize like how important your job is, and the positive impact you make on people's lives, that you build their confidence where they could go out in society and go out in public and be more confident and happy after they have seen you, after they have talked to you?
It's not something that I think about very often. I probably should. I'd probably be a little kinder to myself. I don't sit there and think, the big impact that I'm making. Most often, what I'm thinking is, hey, let me just make sure that each patient feels my sincere care and has my undivided attention, and that I am thinking about, like you said, their confidence and their experiences. And I've had people who work at news stations where this is their moneymaker. They have to have a good smile.
Yeah.
But I can't say that it's something I'm like, I don't big up myself very often. I won't say that. I won't say that, but I'm grateful that I have parents who do, and I have my husband who will, so. And I
Yeah.
actually have a really great network of girlfriends here in the DMV who, I mean, I wouldn't make it through this life without them. They are amazing. We big up each other from our various careers, and some of them are dentists as well.
Yeah, so definitely big up to your friends and
Yeah,
your circle.
yeah.
Yeah, so
That network of girlfriends, we definitely big up each other, but it's not something that I do for myself. But whenever I'm like, oh, no big deal, I'd be like, Lex, excuse me, you out here doing XYZ, da 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 da, you're doing good work. So I will say I have girlfriends who do that. My husband as well, he'd be like, you killing yourself over there, you working hard, you working through lunch, like you're really making an effort to cater to patients. So I may not think about it, but between my husband and my girlfriends, like they feed into me and build me up, and I always try to make sure I reciprocate that and give them their flowers as well. So they help me out a great deal. But as you're saying, I do recognize that the career is important. It's a dirty job, I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
It gets interesting in there, but I love it for the healthcare, which, as you know, I had a trajectory of what I wanted to do in healthcare, but I definitely love it when patients see the veneers or see their new dentures or they're out of pain. It
yeah,
does it does feel good. I feel like I chose the right career. It's artwork, it's art in a sense. Designing beautiful smiles, and I don't take it for granted, the blessings for sure.
yeah. I ask that because sometimes, when we have a profession, we just go through life, and sometimes life be fast and it's be speeding, and when you're working, you don't really have time to kind of settle down and kind of think and what you're doing, and sometimes, it just goes by, like it just becomes
100%,
repetitive.
100%. You're right.
Yeah, so yeah, so
I actually got injured last fall where
wow,
I messed up my right thumb, and I'm right handed, and I physically could not work for like 2.5 months. I was in a brace, and I had to do physical therapy and everything.
wow,
It was a lot. It was, and I've never been injured like that before. Never broke a bone or anything. Um, I did have breast cancer in 2016, but I still worked through chemo. Actually, I still went into the office even though I was getting infusions. But I had never stopped working. So that was interesting. And patients were sending cards, and they were calling and asking, and they would say, even though they had a doctor to cover me while I was gone, they were like, I'm away for Dr. Washington. I'm away for her. I want her to do my treatment. I trust her in my mouth. I did have to tell some patients, like, no, seriously, you need to get that taken care of. Okay. Can't
Yeah.
wait. But it was touching. It was touching. It was
Yeah.
nice. I appreciated that. I felt the love, and it was noted.
Well, so I was about to segue into what you just mentioned just now. I was gonna, and it's perfect timing. You being a breast cancer survivor. How was that process like? Take us, if you would like, take us through, first finding out, and how was your mindset. Talk about the support of your husband, because you mentioned just now about your husband bigging you up, your girlfriends, your inner circle. Talk about the importance of your husband being there for you, and during that time of adversity you was dealing with. And when you hear the word cancer, you know I would think you always think of the worst. So like, so kind of take us through, talk about your feelings, what you was going through mentally, and talk about your husband's support and how he dealt with it, and as well as your girlfriends, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll start with how I found out. So the same way how I preach, go see your dentist every 6 months. My mom, from the time I left St. Croix, she was get a physical every year. Go see your doctor every year. So for me, it was student health. When you're in undergrad, go to student health. They check you out,
Yeah,
and so every year, like clockwork, student health, check you out for women, pap smears, um, and just to make sure you don't have any infections and stuff like that. Get
yeah.
STD panel if you're sexually active, even if you're in a relationship, because undergrad. so,
Yeah,
um, so yeah, I every year got a physical, and in 2016 I was uh 31, and I went to get a physical, and my doctor had actually a medical student there, and he asked if I was okay if she would do my breast exam. And I'm like, sure. I was a resident, a student doing internships and externships as well. So I support, as you mentioned, when we first met, each one teach one kind of thing.
yeah,
So I'm all for it. And so she did my breast exam. Thumbs up, good. My doctor now came in, and of course he's going to double check because she has no license. He has to do the official exam, and
okay,
he felt a lump. And he said, oh, have you noticed this? And I'm like, one thing women know that men may not know is, depending on where you are in your cycle, your breast can be more dense or soft, right? So I'm a young woman. My breasts might be a little bit more firm during this part of my cycle. It might be a little bit softer at next part of my cycle. So I was like, I don't know. And so he was like, he's old, gray-haired man. He done been around the block. He's seen things, right? And he was like, let's go ahead and get his biopsied. And I'm like, well, I'm going to Trinidad Carnival next week. So I don't know about getting this biopsy ASAP. And he literally walked me from his office. It was a medical building. He walked me from his office to the location that does the biopsies and the breast exams, the mammograms, excuse me. And he was like, let's make sure you at least get the appointment. So after you come back from Trinidad, you can have an appointment on the books. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I've never had a doctor be like, come with me,
yeah,
And I feel like in my mind, I feel he may have known, like maybe because like I said, he was older, he's seen things. And he
yeah,
made a point that I made the appointment. So when I went to Trinidad, had a blast, had my fun, didn't even think about it, because he said it could also be a cyst, right? It could be nothing. You're
yeah,
young, your breast tissue, as we both know, changes throughout your cycle every month, but let's be careful. So I thought nothing of it. I was fetting, chipping on the road, had a good time in Trinidad, and came back, went to get the mammogram. The lady who was doing the mammogram was like, You're young. I wouldn't even worry about it. Let's do the mammogram. By the time she looked at the x-ray, she was like, oh. And so I said, oh, what,
Yeah.
And she's like, well, it's a lot more dense than I was expecting. A cyst would be like hollow on the inside. But for
Mm.
me, it had stuff on the inside. So she was like, well, you're getting your biopsy. We'll see. And I'll never forget that. So that was like a Wednesday or something. And Saturday morning, I was driving to my dermatologist appointment, and who's also Black. Gotta support Black doctors.
Got to, definitely.
And I was on my way there, and my doctor called me Saturday morning, and I answered the phone, and he was like, hey, Alexis, you got a second? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And he says, okay, well, we got the results back. You have invasive ductal carcinoma. And he said it that way because he knows that I would understand what he was saying versus just, you have breast cancer, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And he had already told me that no matter what it was, if it was just a cyst that needed to get removed or breast cancer that needed to get removed, go ahead and make an appointment with a breast surgeon. So I follow instructions. I already had the appointment lined up for the next week, Tuesday. So when I went to my dermatologist, when you go see any doctor, they say, have you had any changes in your medical history? Standard question, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm
General
like,
question.
so I found out I have breast cancer like 20 minutes ago. Nobody
Wow.
expects to hear that when they
Yeah.
ask a standard question. And she was like, okay. She was like, the nurse like writes it down.
Yeah. That's tough.
But my dermatologist came in, and I had been seeing her for a few years, and she's about good, maybe like 20 years older than me or so big sister kind of role. And
Yeah.
she walks in and she gives me a hug, and she's like, Alexis, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be okay. And she says, show me the results that your doctor gave me. So I showed her the results, and she was like, okay, this particular one, it's receptive to these particular hormones. We have the most research on that type of cancer, because the cancer I had responds to hormones that women have in higher numbers, especially when they're pregnant. I wasn't pregnant at the time, but it's in higher numbers. The pregnancy,
Yeah.
the cancer that I had. And she said that one we have the most research on, and we had the most
Okay.
success with treating it. Some people's cancer shows up for no rhyme or reason. It doesn't care what hormone is there from what hormone is not there. It's going to do its thing. That one is a little bit harder to treat because it's not like you just take away something and then it'll go down. It's just wilding out for the sake of wilding out. But fortunately, I had a breast cancer that if you adjusted the hormones, then you could affect the cancer. So
Oh.
that was how I found out. And in terms of when you mentioned like, did I have the support of my husband? We met in undergrad, but we weren't. He went off in the Air Force. He was a captain and then a major, I want to say, or no, he was a captain. Sorry, he was a captain in the Air Force. He was in LA living his best life.
Yeah.
And we were Facebook friends. We weren't like close or anything. I was like,
Okay.
and I was dating this guy actually, from St. Croix. I was dating a guy, but he was not, I wouldn't say he was the most supportive.
Mm.
I remember when I told him I had breast cancer, he never even hugged me.
Wow.
And he said, oh, well, it's not a death sentence.
Jeez.
That was his statement. And I was like, okay, you're right. It's not you. I mean, because it seems like they caught it early, it's probably not going to be a death sentence, but comfort me, no man.
No, you're right. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a death sentence or not. It's the fact that the journey that you have to go through
Yeah. And
dealing with this
so
situation, you know?
it was rough. The
Yeah.
relationship did not last. And some women actually, like, I've heard of men leaving their wives. They married a healthy individual. They didn't sign up. Although most marriage vows will say better or worse, sickness and in health, all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But when push come to shove, I know I've been a member of an organization called Young Survival Coalition. And it's for young women who have breast cancer, which affects you differently in terms of like some people find out when they got pregnant and then they have to terminate a pregnancy.
It's
Some
tough.
people
Oh,
have difficulty getting pregnant after going through chemotherapy and then have to find ways of figuring out how what their family is going to look like. So I needed support of young women, and I joined that organization, and some of those women told me that husbands left, divorces happened, and the
jeez.
relationship that I was in, I remember one morning, everything hurt. Everything, and I had a dog and I needed to walk her, and I could barely get out the bed. And I called him and I was like, hey, we didn't live that far apart. I'm like, can you come and walk my dog before you go to work? And he was like, I have a lot of meetings and presentations to do. I won't be able to come. Sorry. And I'm like, what the
Jeez.
heck? I'm
Wow.
like, did you not tell your employer that your partner is going through cancer? Like, I'm sure if you're like, I'm going to be 30, 45 minutes late, or like, here's the information ahead of time, I'm going to be a little tardy. Let me go help her real quick. Like, I felt like there, in my mind, maybe there could have been some accommodations. But again, that relationship did not work out. I did not have support from my partner. In other news, my girlfriends were lifesavers. They threw a I'll start with how my best friend was the one who shaved my hair. And I get
Wow.
emotional talking about it because she is like my sister. I don't have sisters. Well, sorority sisters,
Yeah.
but I had her get the clippers to shave my hair. And for a woman, your hair is your crown, you know?
Yeah. That's
And
true.
Black women, we get creative with our crowns.
Very, very true.
Don't get attached to one look, because 2 weeks from now,
You
it's
got
going to be
something
a
else
whole
going on.
new situation.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
she shaved my head for me. And it was just an emotional day. And then right afterwards,
Wow.
like, so she shaved my head. I had a custom made wig made for me that looked kind of similar to like how I used to wear my hair. And then, surprise, surprise, they threw me a cancer like preparation party where they gave me all these gifts and warm socks and beanies. And they got me a lady to come in and clean the house for me, because you're so weak when you're going through chemotherapy. I couldn't clean my house,
Mm.
so they got a lady to come in. I want to say maybe every other week or so, every week, something like that, to clean my house for me. And they just fed into me, and they made pink, remember those rubber bands, Live Strong,
Yeah,
remember
yeah, Live Strong.
that?
Yeah, the yellow rub. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Lance Armstrong rub. Yeah.
So I don't know. I know it's somewhere in the house now, but they made one for that had my name on it in pink. And all
Mm.
my girlfriends and all my family members, they wore that pink band. And it was, I could not have asked for a better tribe of people,
Yeah.
especially when, like I said, I did not have a partner who was there for me to the level of what a cancer patient needs.
Needs. Yeah. Wow.
So, and of course, when I told my husband about this, when we rekindled our friendship several years later, he was just appalled. He was like, "What? You didn't have?" He said, "What?"
Yeah. It's shocking.
Everyone's like,
It's
even my
shocking.
girlfriends, he got all the side eye. That was going through a lot. That wasn't gonna last. But I was very, very blessed to have girlfriends who were there for me. And that day that I told you about, that where I couldn't move really,
Yeah.
my one girlfriend, Amy K, she cleared her schedule for the day. She's an entrepreneur. She cleared her schedule for the day and was like, I'm coming. And she took care of me, my dog. And then my aunt also drove like an hour away and cleared her schedule. Also an entrepreneur, cleared her schedule and came and took care of me. So I was able to go through chemotherapy and then I had a double mastectomy. So they took all of the breast tissue except
Yeah.
for the outside. So like nipple and skin, all mine, and then the inside is an implant. And some women are very attached. They don't want to have a double mastectomy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
The sensation from your nipples are now altered.
Yeah.
It's
It's
true.
different. Yeah.
You don't feel arousal, and you definitely can't breastfeed after having a double mastectomy. And a lot of women have a very, very hard time deciding, do they want to do that procedure to save, to reduce the likelihood of the breast cancer coming back. So that's a tough um, decision that is made, that I had to make. But I said, I do want to be a mother one day. I froze my eggs before going through chemotherapy. And I said, I want to at least be alive to have these kids
Yeah.
one day. So I'll do the double mastectomy, and then we'll just have to do formula. Or they have an organization that women who have extra breast milk can donate it to women who either don't produce enough, or in my case, don't have um the glands, the breast glands to produce.
Produce
So
produce the breast milk. Yeah.
there are options out there, but it's a tough decision. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, because when you get breast cancer, sometimes you have to terminate a pregnancy, an abortion you didn't think you were gonna be, that conversation you didn't think you were gonna have to have, and then later on, it's like, can I have kids? And that's another conversation that women have to have. So it's a brutal disease that I wouldn't wish on anybody, but thank God, I thank God every day that I had great doctors, a great team, wonderful friends, and just his divine intervention to get me through. And so I'm here today to talk about it.
Man, that's amazing. Definitely much love and blessings and respect to your friends and your family and the doctor and everybody who supported you. It's man, it's amazing that you got some individuals in this world that is so selfish. Especially when you come from a woman, you would expect to at least have some type of principle and some unconditional love for a woman, no matter what they go through, just because you came from a woman. So you would always look out for that female, no matter what. But it's crazy the world we live in. You mentioned abortion, and we could segue into this, because like you just mentioned what you had to go through and some of the sacrifices and the tough decisions you have to make. Like you mentioned with your breasts, and you got like the nipples and the altar is yours, but inside it's an implant just because they got to get rid of the all the tissue and the cancer and stuff, etc. And you got to make that decision where the sensation, and now you won't be, like people who dealt with breast cancer like yourself and many millions of other females around the world, they're not able to breastfeed, etc. And those tough decisions that you got to make, and the body transformation, raising up, living one way, your body is this way, you happy with your breast, you happy with your shape, you happy with everything. Sometimes stuff happens where it alters the way you live and the way how you look at yourself in the mirror. And only you're going through the process, so you're going to deal with all the emotion and all the pain and the suffering. But you have loved ones that you have loved ones there to help you. But no matter what, you're going through it, and you're the one that's being affected.
Yeah.
Late nights, early mornings, when you by yourself, however your mind works, you dealing with that pain, etc. No matter how much somebody cheers you up, you're always gonna feel that what you went through. Talking with abortion, it was like a big topic with the law, where pretty much it was like taking away women's rights, like the rights for a woman to make a decision based what's best for them. What's your personal take on that? Especially what you've been through and what you have went through. So
Yeah,
you can kind of touch on it more.
absolutely. We all make decisions based on our experiences, right? Like you pointed out, my decisions and point of reference come from my upbringing, my faith, and my experiences. Technically, my faith, I'm Roman Catholic, and they tend to not be too kind on abortion. um,
Yeah.
but they but forgiveness is a big thing that the Pope talks about, right? He's like, we ain't condemning anybody to hell. That's not my job. That's God's job. We will tell you what we suggest and we will recommend, but that's not my job to be condemning anybody, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned before, there are a lot of women who I know personally who found out that they had breast cancer when they were pregnant. And they had to make that very heartbreaking decision to terminate a pregnancy to save their lives. And I had a conversation about this with someone actually from church, and they were like, save the mother, save you. You, like, we're not just gonna discard you. Like, you're a child of God too, you know? Like, we're not just gonna be like, oh, tough, you know? And I firmly believe that a woman needs to be able to choose. And when I say I'm pro life, I'm pro my life. I'm choosing my life,
Yeah.
right?
It's
So
true.
that's the life that I'm going to fight for. Now, I know I don't have kids, right? So again, my opinion is coming from a person. Yeah, I don't have kids, and I can't say that I have experienced the joy of bringing life into this world or anything. And I know that children are precious and beautiful, but I know that there are circumstances that may be beyond our control, whether it's rape or incest or cancer and things like that. And I feel like abortion gets a negative connotation of a woman being selfish and it's just not the right time. And I still have ramping in these streets to do. I don't want to have a baby right now. That's the connotation that I feel abortion gets.
Yeah.
Whereas there are some serious life threatening issues. Example, if like we were talking about, we've talked about this where if you have a fetus that has died, you know, unfortunately, if a fetus has died in you, you have a decaying corpse in your body, which is heartbreaking for any woman who is a child. And then now you're saying I have to hold on to this thing, which is decaying and can cause sepsis, you know, throughout the body and kill me. So now we're gonna get rid of. And if a fetus dies, that happens, you know. Spontaneous abortions can happen, whether it's a chromosomal issue with the fetus that has nothing to do with how well a woman took care of herself when she was pregnant, you know?
Yeah.
It can
That's
happen. And to tell someone that now they have to hold on to this fetus for whatever reason is just malicious and torturous, you know? You're not saving a life because the fetus is dead, you know?
yeah.
But you can condemn someone to a mother to death because now the sepsis and you know can set in and she can die. And every situation has its own unique um experience for that person, but I feel that the individual, the medical community, whoever's taking care of that woman, needs to weigh in to decide if an abortion is the best and healthy route for this person to move forward with their life. And it's unfortunate that now, because like you mentioned, the Supreme Court, it depends on where you live, whether or not you have access to an abortion. And I feel that without getting too what's the word, I can't think of the phrase right now, but without getting too deep into it, but like if you have a person who's not in a position to raise a child and then they do have the child, you're condemning them probably to a life of poverty because children ain't cheap.
That's true.
And you're a woman may have had big plans for herself and may have been raped or something like that, and now she has to raise this child who she doesn't know half of their genetic information, who knows what genes they got from their father, you know. And it's a reminder, it can be a painful reminder there's always the love for your child, no matter what. Once they're brought in, you reared them in your womb and you brought them to this world, and there is love, but there is pain. And it would be unrealistic to deny that truth. So I think that you're condemning someone to poverty, or you can be condemning someone to a life of poverty when you make them support a person that they can't do it for, unless they
Yeah,
go child to adoption, which I guess is an option as well, right? So
yeah,
much so much nuance to it. I'm glad I'm not in legislation where I have to make these tough decisions, but I could give
it's
you my
true.
2 cents. I could give
Yeah,
you 2 cents.
yeah,
So
definitely.
depending on what state you're in, you may have to travel if you have the money. Again, if you don't, then that poverty will sustain, or it's a higher likelihood of sustaining for that individual. And if I may flip it,
Yes.
as again, my experiences weigh into my opinion. As a breast cancer survivor, as I mentioned earlier, some breast cancer survivors have to think about how they want to start a family. And there are, because it could be difficult after having those harsh chemicals in your body.
Yeah.
And so there are certain states that provide insurance for women who want to do treatments for IVF and to get pregnant. There are other states who don't have that option. So it's like a damned if you don't and damned if you do. You're
Mm.
between a rock and a hard place. If you can't get pregnant, the state may not give you opportunities and insurance to cover it. And
Mm.
if you do get pregnant, but there are certain situations in which you don't, it would be not wise to keep the child, then the state won't allow you to terminate the pregnancy. So it's like you get pregnant, there's red tape. And if you can't get pregnant, there's red tape, and there's just all these legal these laws surrounding what women are able to do and accomplish with their bodies. And again, I'm glad I'm not in legislation to have to make these sweeping decisions, because I'm a bleeding heart. I'm in healthcare. I want to save everybody. I want to make sure everybody's happy and healthy. And so I would be like, everybody is able to get this healthcare provided to them.
Yeah.
As financial ramifications for the government and all of that. So I get it, but I most certainly am in favor of women being being able to be their best selves.
Well said. Well said. Well said. Very. It's like it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. The only thing that bothers me, honestly, because the only thing that bothers me is when I see that when we have male, male, figures having strong opinions on that topic of abortion. I just feel like that's more of what females, women to discuss among themselves.
Yeah,
Come,
I get it. I get it.
you know,
I would say this, like how you said, you do research, right?
yeah,
You're not a dentist, but you did the research and you did the legwork and you took several months of figuring out what you're going to do to take care of your oral health. I don't think you necessarily have to be a female, but you do need to do the research and know what the heck you're talking about. Don't come tell me that if you pee out the sperm after for a rape victim, then you won't get pregnant,
yeah,
because that's just not how things work down there. That's not how this is. So
yeah,
for a senator or a congressman or whatever to say that, or anyone with any sense of power who has influence and how laws are made to say that, that's when I have a problem.
yeah.
Come here talking sense or find the door. And what's unfortunate is you have people who are ignorant and are comfortable being ignorant and happy to spew as much ignorance around, and have really, really dangerous laws being put into play because they don't know what they're talking about.
That's true. Because say you have, I'm a say, some a guy is married to a woman. She goes out, the lady gets raped, Now she's pregnant by the person who raped her. You are her husband. You are against abortion. What would you do?
I can't speak for husbands, but I don't think that I would want to keep a child from being after being raped, and that's just my 2 cents. Thank God I have not been raped, and I don't know that traumatic experience. But speaking without experience and off the top of my head, I I can understand how a husband would not want to raise the child of some horrendous person, but they also do have 50% of their genetic from your wife, right? Um, I do know that is a painful emotional process to terminate any pregnancy, whether it's um a pregnancy that's with your husband that for whatever health reasons you can't keep, or from a traumatic experience, because again 50% of that child is you.
That's
you
true.
know
Very true. Yeah.
so I don't minimize in any way the emotional damage that it does. And for anyone who's gone through that, I'm a big fan of mental health and therapists and speaking to counselors and stuff like that on a routine basis and long term, because navigating this life is not easy, even without the massive traumas. But when you do have them, it is helpful. And I actually did a few months of therapy after going through chemotherapy and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's helpful. It's very stigmatized, especially in the Black community. Folks aren't about that life.
Yeah.
But
It's true. Yeah.
it's gaining some popularity, and I hope that it's not. And when I say popularity, I use that word because it's gaining the popularity, and you don't want it to be popular. You don't want it to be like, oh, I made this poor decision because, oh, mental health. No, 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 no. You did something stupid and you gonna
Yeah.
own that. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't use it as a cop out because it's a buzzword and a buzz phrase that everybody talking about. And so you could just ride the wave. But
That's true.
there are many other circumstances where people do have debilitating things going on in their lives that they need to get off their chest and speak to an unbiased individual who can shed some light and most likely not give you the answers, but often ask the right questions and thought provoking ways to help you get to a better, sane place and healthy place.
That is true. That's very true. You know, and it's a broad topic. And I just feel like at the end of the day, it's like it's hard to speak on something if you don't go through it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
That's 100%, 100%. Like I said earlier, your experiences, if you're making a decision, Mumbai, like you're gonna be like, well, this is what I saw, you know, when I was talking to this one person, when I was growing up, I saw this in St. Croix. You're gonna be like, I can only tell you what I know,
yeah,
right? I can only tell you what I know. I can't tell you anything from somebody else's experience because that's not my reality. And one of the
very true.
blessings about, like, you and I, we live in the United States, we've traveled different places. It's important to see other people and other cultures to get a better understanding of the human experience. I feel that
Yeah,
you empathize with a human being better if ain't to say you gotta move, but you've been other places and you've experienced other things so
very
that you
true.
can empathize with your fellow man and you can be a better human being.
Very, very true.
So
Very true.
I
That's
think it's
true.
a blessing to be able to just experience the world, experience life, and get out, travel.
I agree 100%. Very, very, very true. That is well said.
Have you traveled much internationally?
Internationally, not really internationally. Um,
You've been to Canada?
yeah, yeah, Canada, Vancouver, Canada, been to Mexico. Tijuana, Mexico, one of the
Hey, you
most
visit Tijuana?
yeah, dangerous, very
Ah,
dangerous place, you know. And then
okay.
yeah, and then like several places in the Caribbean,
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, so
that's a good point you make because some people would say you've been to one island, you've seen them all. Not so. At least
not
I
so.
don't agree with that statement.
No, I don't agree with it either. I agree with
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I agree with you.
Which islands have you been to?
I've been to Barbados, Antigua, St. Kitts, Anguilla, St. Martin, both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Bahamas, Cayman Islands. Well, St. Croix, St. Thomas. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think.
Trinidad, you've been to Trinidad?
I never been to Trinidad. That's a place I want to go. I
Yeah,
think
guys,
that yeah.
Carnival.
I think I'm missing one more. Yeah, that's one place. My goal is to try to visit every Caribbean island.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a goal. That's a personal goal.
One thing I will say that I appreciate is how we all have our carnival in different times of the year. So it's
Yeah,
almost like every month, like somebody is having some festival, some carnival, like something throughout the islands. So that's always been really like cool to me. Is something that I have a lot of pride about because the enslaved West Africans, and I always use that word enslaved, that phrase enslaved
enslaved. Yeah,
Africans. I don't say like slaves, the slaves, because we were captured, we're Africans. So that's just
yeah.
a
So
personal
I agree. Yeah,
way that I choose to speak about it.
and I think that's the way it should be
Yeah,
spoken and mentioned. I agree.
right.
Yeah,
And so, like, I just appreciate so much how every island has a carnival. And when you go to either of them, so I went to Antigua, Trinidad, I saw not the full Junkanoo experience in the Bahamas, but like a portion of it, and carnival in Saint Martin. So like a little view of some of the islands. And
yeah.
um and it's just marvelous to me how you will see Mokojumbi in Trinidad, you know, and then how Steel Pan just swept the Caribbean from
Caribbean.
Trinidad all the way up,
Yeah,
and
it's true.
how Madras is the fabric of the Caribbean,
Yes.
which was once a material that would bleed a lot, they said, the original Madras, and how enslaved Africans took something that was the worst material and has turned it into our emblem of resilience, if you will.
Yeah.
Now, anyway, you're gonna Caribbean, it's a fashion. We can make anything. That's Black people. We will make anything good.
Anything good. That's true. You right. It's true.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
really love traveling to different islands because I'll try the foods and I'll say, "Oh, we call
That's
this
it.
kalaloo, and
Yeah.
you call it pepper pot in Antigua." And it's really great to see how we're truly all connected and very similar, more than we are different.
Done different.
And
Yeah.
circling back in terms of traveling, you see that whether you're Caucasian, Asian, Indian, whatever, we at our core we look out for our families. You know what I mean? We're about our people. We have a sense of community, and we like to use the easiest form of difference, which is our color, to differentiate us oftentimes, or religion. But we all bleed red. Trust me, if anybody have dental treatment, all I look the same. Trust that. Trust
That's
that.
true. It's true.
And
It's true.
one example of something I learned from a patient last week, a new patient of mine. So I'll start with, how the Crujan bracelet, right?
Yeah.
If you wear it one way, you're in a relationship, you're taken. You wear it the next way, you're single and available. So I'm talking to my patient and I see she has an interesting shaped ring on her hand, Caucasian young lady, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, we finish with the exam, we get all of the treatment plan down, and I'm like, before I leave, I have to ask you a question. That ring, what does that mean? Come to find out, I forgot the name of the ring, but she's of Irish descent, right? Red hair, the whole shebang, right? Irish young lady. And she says, "Oh, it tells your relationship status. If you wear it facing in, you're married and you're taken.
Yeah.
If you wear it facing outward, you're available and
Yeah.
single." I was like, wait a second, because this right here in St. Croix has the same meaning,
Yeah.
And it again, we can make up all the differences that we would like to, whether actually in Ireland, whether you're Catholic or Protestant, or whether you're white or black and all of that, or what part of Asia you're from and all. But I mean, at the end of the day, we all bleed red.
You gotta be ready. It's
Guarantee
true.
that.
It's true. It's true. We gotta be ready.
Yeah.
You know, because I wanna say when it's pointing towards your heart, that's mean you're taken. And when it's pointing
Yeah,
away from
yeah.
your heart,
This way you're
yeah,
you're in a relationship and you're taken, and then the
the
other
other
way,
the other direction.
yeah, just scooping. you're,
Yeah,
you're looking,
yeah.
honey, as they would say back at home, you're looking for a partner.
You're looking for a partner.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're available. But yeah, so yeah, and I got all my girlfriends on board with this. Several of my girlfriends have their Crucian hook bracelets, and
Nice, nice.
oh, it looks like someone put the name of it here. Clada?
A
Clada ring?
Clara ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the ring. And so my husband, of course, has his, gotta lock him down.
Yeah, yeah. Make
Of
sure you
course,
can
he has
make
a wedding band, but
yeah,
still
yeah. Make sure you point in the right way too
in
and
the
everything.
right direction. Oh, one great thing about him, he embraces the culture. He's been to Trinidad Carnival. He was blasting soca just yesterday.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's in a blessing to be married to someone who um who has embraced the culture. And because I'm if anybody has the time or day, I will chat their ears off about Crucian or Caribbean culture. And so
yeah.
to be with me is to know that I fit in somebody carnival, if not Joy for sure.
Yeah,
I gonna be to a fete up in here in DC. I gonna have some soca playing, and that is just who I am through and through, and he embraces that. So that's
yeah,
the same. It
yeah.
was
I love
hard to
that.
find. Hard to
Yeah,
find.
hard to find. Yeah, yeah. Definitely big up to your husband. It's good that he was open minded enough to really embrace the culture. You know,
Yeah, he leaves me 2020 and went carnival, Trinidad Carnival without me.
yeah, yeah. Look at that, man. Look at that. He wastes no time. He got a taste, and he turning around now.
Exactly.
You know.
He was like, "Oh, you're trying to save money? Okay, well, I go in carnival." We were dating at the time. We were
Yeah,
dating, but he was like, so I'll be going. I'll let you know how it was.
yeah. That's good though. That's good. That's good. So he loved the food and everything, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be fair, he loves food, right? He cooks better than I do. He cooks very well. He's a foodie. I feel like I smell him food cooking all now, to be honest with you. And but yeah, he enjoys the food. He's embraced it. And in fact, the running joke in my family is that he has his Crucian card, and we've been threatening my nephew because my older brother and his family, wife and kids, they left St. Croix. They moved to the US when my nephew was in junior high, middle school up here.
Yeah.
And so he's been away for a while. And so certain things like he'll be like, "Oh, they have Sunny Isles still. Oh, okay, cool." Whereas Abe has been to Sunny Isles several times. I'm like looking for something back at home. Are we going to different stores? So he's like, "Yeah, Sunny Isles is still there." And then he's like, "I'm judging you. I'm taking away your Crucian card." And my dad lets him drive, his Jeep when we
Okay,
go home,
nice.
and he
Yeah,
drives
nice.
on the left side. So, he could be an honorary Crucian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, from the Elite Podcast, Abraham, he's a cruiser now.
Yes,
That's what he
yes,
is. He's a cruiser.
officially,
Yeah, yeah.
officially.
Yeah, you're a cruiser now. You cruiser first now.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly,
definitely. Big
exactly.
up to him, man. Big up to your husband. That's good, man. I love to hear that. Love to hear people really, really open minded and embracing the culture and loving it and seeing the positivity in the culture. Because the culture is so amazing when you get to learn it and embrace it. So
Exactly.
that's lovely to hear. That's
Yeah.
definitely lovely to hear. So I mean, we kind of winding down. So I got some quick hitters, some rapid questions for you.
Okay.
So whatever comes to mind, you could take your time if you want to, or it's up to you.
I'm
So
nervous, but okay.
yeah. So put your seatbelt on, be ready. So
Okay. All
so.
right.
And if you need any help, you could get Mr. Cruz, and if you need any
I
help
know.
too,
I was like,
so
dang, what is this?
yeah. Okay, so if you had a message you could share with the world, like put it on a worldwide billboard that the world could see, every day, what would it be?
I think it would be what I said earlier. We are more alike than different.
Mm, okay. Okay. 5 words that describe you.
Ah!
And 5 words that 5 words that describe you. I'm gonna let you answer that first because I'm gonna double back to
I was
something
gonna be
else.
like, Dave, what do you think? What do you think are 5 words to describe
No,
me?
yeah,
What
5 words.
describe me?
Your
My
personal,
kindness.
personally you. Like 5 words you
Well,
think that describes you, like who you
I
are.
would say I am. So I'm a glass half full kind of person. So I'm very cheerful and happy, right? And I got
Nice.
that from my mom. She's her nickname. So she's from Antigua originally. Her nickname growing up was Happy.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry to interrupt. Which part of Antigua? My mom is from Antigua. Well, my mom
yeah.
passed away. Yeah,
Oh,
my mom passed
oh.
away, but she was from Antigua.
She's
Which
from
part of
Antigua. My mom is from New. So my mother is from Newfield. Her
Newfield?
mother is from the Newfield area. My grandfather, I want to say he was from closer to town, but I
Okay.
don't remember where my grandfather was from in town. But we would have to look into that because my mom told me very clearly, don't date nobody from Antigua. My great grandfather had about 36 children, something in that
What?
range. Like it was,
Jeez.
yeah, it was I might be off by maybe like 10, but it was a lot. That's a lot for anybody, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
it
a
was
lot.
different women. And that's all I want
Wow.
to say about that. But I
Yeah.
can't, I mean, I'm married now, but mommy was very clear like, do not be with anybody from Antigua because you'll probably related to them.
Yeah.
And I found out just recently that one of my classmates actually is my cousin. So
Wow. We
there
have
you go.
some.
One of my
We have
classmates is
some.
my
We
cousin.
have a viewer here that said 40.
40. Oh gosh.
Jeez. So yeah,
Yeah.
my
So
my my mother family, they're from Villa. So
I'm not
Villa is more
familiar.
like, I guess, town area close to the waterfront, the
Okay.
pier, that
Okay. So
area.
from
Yeah,
town. Yeah.
yeah.
And
Because
my
I
mom is like on the other side, like as far as you could get. Essentially, I was just talking to my aunt about this, and she was like, "So, not town. That's where she was. It was like the new feel, like a village, if you will.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's pretty
But
cool.
we'll
That's
have to
nice.
look into that offline because we
Yeah, yeah,
might be related.
yeah. We might be. Yeah,
We
yeah. That's
might be
true. We might be
cousins.
cousins. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So,
Especially with your grandfather, your grandfather, right? Got
great
40.
grandfather.
Great grandfather got 40. Yeah, you never know. So
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
wow, that's
that
amazing.
happened. That
Yeah,
happened. Plenty children, and not
yeah,
even all in Antigua. But again, we will we'll move on.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Um,
so you got 4 more.
happy.
Happy.
Um, let me think. Let me think. What are like one-liners that I could say about myself? That's a tough one. I don't necessarily think about myself in that way very often. Um, Generous. I would
Okay.
say I'm fairly generous, and not just of like finances, but time, so to speak.
Time. Wow, that's
And
important.
yeah, so I definitely with the service, right, through the sorority,
Yeah.
service to all mankind for sure. And a survivor, right?
I was thinking that. I was
Right.
like survivor. That's what I was thinking.
I cannot deny how much being a breast cancer survivor has impacted my life. And it's something that you live with every day, unfortunately. It's the cancer coming back.
Yeah.
I know that
Imagine.
for a long time. Don't let me even get a headache. I was like, oh gosh, it spread to my brain. You know,
Yeah.
it would be the simplest thing. It's PTSD. It's PTSD. But over the years, I have become active in that Young Survival Coalition organization, and I've done a lot of work with them. So I'm had to spin it to a positive. Oh, I see charismatic.
Yeah, we got one more here for you.
Yeah. I'll take it. I'll take it.
And we got someone mentioned Narelle. Sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. I'm the worst at pronouncing names, so I
Uh-huh.
apologize. Yeah, bubbly.
Bubbly auntie,
Yeah,
that's my niece.
yeah,
And charismatic. I definitely claim charismatic because I talk with my hands, and I am all energy. I am high energy. I'm the wing girl. If you want to go out and have some fun, you could call me and I will be there. A little less so that I got married. My husband's more of an introvert.
yeah.
We will chill home more often. But my girlfriends know, like, hey Lex, what you doing? Oh, I coolin'. Oh, let's go out.
Yeah, yeah,
And I was there. I have started many parties. You know how you go to a party and people standing around, cutting style.
yeah, yeah.
I will find the middle dance floor, and I have no problem dancing. And
That's good. That's good.
I mean, I have been that person so many times. And next thing you know, jam session. Like, I'm like, okay, I don't mind being that person.
That's
So
good though. That's good. Every friend needs someone like you.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I am happy to
definitely.
big you up, and so I guess I was supportive. I am there.
Okay.
I try my best to speak life into people because I know that I need it. You never know when you'll need it, and I dish it out as much as I can because I know I have a lot of love in me, and I am happy to give it out.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, I'm
Somebody
all
always
for
need
you get
that.
a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get love, you get love, you get like I'm here to. I want to see everybody win. And so
Yeah,
I try my best to be as supportive as possible. I don't
that's
know
all
how
life should
far
be.
I made it through charismatic, supportive, happy, and survivor, and then I guess I'm coming up short. I don't know. Just me. I'm happy with who I am.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so now I'm gonna put you on the spot. 5 words that describe your husband.
My wonderful husband.
I had to put you on the spot on that one. So
Yes, my husband, my wonderful Abe. He is pragmatic. If I am the one who is flighty and I want to do this and what do you think about that and this is gonna be great and honey, let's do this, he will be the one to be like, okay, so how much does that cost and when do you actually want to go? The man lives by spreadsheets. I kid you
that's
not.
good. That's good.
He
You
has
need
spreadsheets. He has a plan. He will figure out what our mission is. He's a veteran out of the Air Force. So,
okay.
and he's an
Nice, nice.
economist. He's the money guy. He makes sense of where the Air Force is allotting money for anything that flies, basically, is what I kind of gathered from our conversations over at the
Yeah.
Pentagon. So he's pragmatic. He is family oriented. One of the things I loved about him is that he's
That's good.
family
That's good.
oriented.
Yeah.
He is the rock. Oh, I'm gonna get emotional. He's a rock for his family.
That's good.
They can always go to him for anything. And it's like, I mean, they appreciate him, but when you're on the outside looking at it, I'm like, yo, they are so lucky and blessed that he is so there for them, supportive of them, whether it's financial or bigging them up. Like he's up there, man. So when I met him and we would shoot the breeze at the alumni association and we would watch movies at the theater or whatever and catch drinks and lime or whatever. Like I was like, this dude, okay, cool. Like he's cool people.
Yeah.
Always been genuine. He's a straight shooter. He's not gonna lie to you, and he's not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
Now that can get difficult sometimes. Cause I'm like, you gotta talk to me nicely. You gotta talk to me sweet, okay? Like, don't
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta. But he's like, this is what it is. And I'm like, so, but he's a straight shooter. He's
I like that.
pragmatic. He's honest. He's so smart. I was, I'm a nerd at heart, and I like that the fact that I learned from him. I learned from him, and there are many things that he knows that I'm just like, okay, say that one more time. I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? He's very smart, and then there's things that he knows something about that I will explain too.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
Yeah.
smart. I always wanted to be with someone who I can learn from and I can grow with and I can grow through. And he's God fearing. I tried dating like a guy, a couple guys I think that were atheist, and I was like, I can be open minded. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
try to do that. And I realized I needed to be with a Christian person. I needed to have that joint that joint belief together, at least for
Yeah.
me. But I did give it the good college try, and I tried to be open about it, and it just really wasn't quite working. I didn't want someone to be like, okay, pray to your little magic person in the sky. I was like, ooh, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So he's very supportive in that regard, and not to
That's
say that
good.
we're the perfect couple and there's never disagreements, but he is 1,000% committed to our marriage, to me, to our relationship, to us being together forever. He was very clear. He was like, I don't believe in divorce. So just so you know, like,
Yeah.
you don't gotta kill me. You don't gotta kill me, okay?
Yeah.
So before you all up here, I love you and I do, and I want to have this nice wedding and all of that. Just know, like, this is what it means for me. So just know what you're getting yourself into. And of course, sometimes people will assume that the person that they're into feels that way and thinks that way. But him being who he is, being pragmatic,
Yeah.
like, let me tell you now, so you could decide how you gonna act. If you wanna go, no hard feelings. I understand, but this is what I'm here for. I feel like I have more to say about him than I have to say about myself. It's hard to talk about yourself, but
Yeah.
I can talk about him forever. He's a good man, and I am so glad that he suggested that we step it up from just being friends
Yeah.
to being romantic and partners, because he had a great idea.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. The way how you describe your husband is like you need those type of individuals in the world, because those type of individual creates balance in the world. It sounds like he's never too high and he's never too low. So you
Yeah,
need those type of people in your life,
yeah,
because everybody don't have that type of mindset to
yeah.
be level headed.
He's a hundred
So
percent. Now
yeah,
me,
so
I'll be like, oh my god.
yeah, so that's why you need people like that in the
You're
world,
like,
so
okay,
yeah,
Alexis. Rest just like, let's talk about this. So, and I will say he's an introvert, so like having conversations, like we talk differently. He
yeah,
says sometimes we're talking past each other. I talk differently. I'm a woman, right? I speak differently. I interpret things differently. Some of it is nature and some of it is nurture, right? He's a man. Men are raised to be more stoic and, like you said, more even keeled, and they're not going to get too high, they're not going to get too low. But sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to get something from you, like I
yeah,
need
very true,
something, and I need you to also give me the room to be myself
very
and
true.
touch me. And so we are still growing together, and better understanding what the other person needs. And I'm fortunate to be able to look at my older brother Kareem and his wife. They've been married for like 20 years now.
Oh,
I
beautiful,
want to
nice.
say, no, not a lie. It's been more than that. 'Cause my nephew's 21, so more than 22 maybe. And they grew, and I was able to speak with them, and they told me how they learned to communicate, and how they had growing pains, if you will. And for me, and you, like how with baseball, you ain't trying to get no advice from somebody who's the exact same level as you, blind leading the blind, you know? You
Yeah.
have a coach who's
Yeah.
gonna talk to you and let you know their experiences and training and technique, how to hold the bat, how to position yourself.
Yeah.
When you see this, think this, you know what I mean?
True. Very true.
So for me, it's a blessing that I have my older brother. I even have my younger brother because he's been married longer than me. My younger brother been married longer than me.
Yeah, they pass you.
And it's good to have the male perspective
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
It is. Yeah.
I've never been a man. I don't understand what it's like. So when I'm like, what is he thinking? The male perspective. I have my parents who've been married for no, how old am I? 38. So 38 years, right? So I have coaches in my life
Mm. I like how you
who
said that. Yeah,
have
coaches.
successful marriages because marriage is work. It's every day you're committed to it. And my husband hates when I say that, but I'm committed to the work involved. I
Yeah.
think he's enjoying himself, but I find it, like it's an effort. I make a
Yeah, it's true.
concerted effort to do this well.
Yeah. Like you just mentioned, you're honest and open about everything. And once you have that type of mindset, you're always gonna win, because you're facing the truth and you're acknowledging the truth, you're acknowledging the faults and everything. And that's the only way you can win and get better, as a couple or even as a person in
You have to
general.
be coachable.
Yeah, you
I
gotta
mean,
be coachable.
you could be the best athlete out there, the best talent out
Yeah,
there. But if you're not coachable, if you don't have that discipline to realize that you're not the best thing out here, I mean, Michael Jordan had a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like all of the greats have coaches who can look on the outside and be like, okay, well, you did this, but turn your foot like this.
yeah,
You rotate your body more into it, like there's always more that we can do to better ourselves, whether it's our career or our personal lives. You got to be
very true.
coachable in life. You got to be coachable in life.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Okay. And you making me laugh because you already like
I'm like, another question, another rapid fire question. I'm ready.
okay. So an album that you will play without skipping a song.
Okay, now you're getting me because I actually am lame. I don't have albums, but I will say I listen to Private Ryan mixtapes. So he's out of Trinidad for soca.
Okay.
I work out to soca. I listen to soca like all the time.
All the
I
time.
play anything that Adamo has come out with from St. Croix. And if it's soca, I'm in.
Okay.
So it's not like an album per se, but a
Yeah.
genre of music. I can't tell you the last album that I've acquired or purchased,
Okay. Yeah.
but soca is the soundtrack to my life.
Okay. Okay. So next question. Favorite soca artist, if you have one. If you have one.
So,
Or you could name a couple if you would like.
yeah, right. So, Kess.
Okay. Nice.
Yes, for sure. I actually have a friend who is well acquainted with Kes, and he got Kes to like send me a video or something like that. I was
Oh,
like,
nice.
I died and went to heaven. So
Nice,
that was nice. Just a little like, hey, how you doing kind of thing. What's up, Lex? I was like, um,
nice.
again, I love everything that Adamo puts out. Big supporter of his. I remember when I found him like on YouTube, gosh, 2017 maybe. And he was, what kind of thing, just trying to progress. And I remember I met up with him back at home and I was like, look, you're going to be in a big truck in Trinidad. I'm just letting you know now. I
Yeah.
am putting it out there. I never want to prophesy and all of that, but I'm just letting you know that I hear talent in you and you're gonna be in Trinidad, and you're gonna
Nice.
be doing big things. And he was like, you know, he's humble, right? He's humble.
Yeah.
Where he been in Trinidad this year, okay? On everybody's stage, up
On
and on
everybody's
stage. So
stage.
I am beyond proud of
Yeah,
him.
that's nice. That's awesome.
I'm a big fan of his. I don't know him like intimately or personally, like we talk all the time or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we're to the point where I'd be like, hey, yo, this was good. I gonna see you in St. Martin, and he's like, okay, cool, check for me, you know, that
That's
kind of
dope.
stuff.
That's dope. Yeah, I like that. That's dope. Yeah.
So I would say between Bunji Garland, Power Soca, I will be like how he said, I will be on a hill blasting Power Soca all day. Like that will be me. Power Soca. Like I love it. So Bunji for sure. Bunji, I don't know. I could go on.
You could go on.
But I'll stop there.
Okay. We have a viewer question. So I'll get to this viewer question and I'll get back to the rapid fire questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I I'll let you read it.
Oh yeah, Jamaran just found himself. Yeah, I think I heard about that. What advice could you share with this young superstar that found himself on the wrong track? So I heard about it vaguely, and I haven't said I've been following it. I think I just saw the subtitle. In his shoes, he's a young superstar. He better get a great lawyer, right? He better get a great lawyer, and he better get a good PR person. That's what I would recommend, right?
Yeah.
And then certainly kind of look within yourself, right? Again, you got to be coachable, not just on the court, but in your personal life. And at this point, he needs to get, I would say, some coaching, right? Personal life. And I don't know enough about the situation, what happened in the club, why he had a gun, was it somebody in particular, was he defending himself? I'm fairly ignorant on that front, I will admit. Yeah. But just from the information that was given there, a good lawyer and a good PR person, and then make sure that you're getting the right advice, getting the proper coaching on how to navigate that if you want to come out a better person, a redeemed person, and still have a career. So that'll be my advice. And feel free to let me know about any other details about it to help me answer the question better.
Yeah.
But just high level, like big picture, knee-jerk answer from me will be to do that.
You know, I agree with your answer 100%.
Okay.
I've been following John Morant since he was in high school.
Okay.
Not following him, but I heard about him just because my son played travel ball. So, you know, I kind of knew about him going into college and high school. So I kind of familiar with his story.
Okay.
So real quick, so his story is like is an amazing story.
Okay.
So he went to Morris State University. You know, that's where Bob Victor went to college as well.
Yeah, my classmate.
Yeah, great Bob Victor. I myself sat with Morris State out of high school, but I ended up going to Iowa. You know, so with John Morant, he ended up going to Morris State because he went to a showcase. And in the showcase, they choose, and I'm kind of summarizing it real quick. They choose this certain amount of players, and he wasn't chosen. So he went to another gym and continued playing.
Yeah.
One of the Morris State coaches went to get something to eat, and he heard a basketball bouncing in another gym, and he went to look, and he saw John Morant, and he was interested in him. So that's how he ended up going to Morris State. And then from Morris State, he just blossomed, became a superstar, went to the NBA. So it's kind of like an underground story. So seeing that he's getting in trouble is kind of shocking to me because he kind of came from the bottom. He wasn't like a highly recruited basketball player like Zion Williams or LeBron James. He wasn't like that. He had to fight for his. So to see him getting in a lot of trouble, and I just feel like he's young. I think the fame, the way how the world is, social media, being popular, all that stuff plays a factor. And like you said, he needs to get a good lawyer, a good PR, and I think he's missing that. On top of, if you watch a lot of the NBA games, his dad, and I hate to speak on someone's family, but from the outside looking in, my personal opinion, when you look at his dad, you think that his dad is more like his brother, his friend than his dad, because his dad gets into arguments with NBA players, and he's getting a lot of attention on the sideline. It's just too much. So I just feel like things is going too fast in life for him. and I think he's just not realizing what's really
Yeah.
going on and how he's hurting himself. And like you said, if you got good PR and stuff like that, they will be on top of you and make sure if you're in the club, they make sure you have a bodyguard, and make sure you don't even have a gun on you because you have a bodyguard. So like what the answer you give is really good answer because that's what he needs. He's a superstar. So you actually need
Mhm.
a bodyguard that's gonna be there looking out for you. You're a millionaire, you have endorsements, you don't need to be carrying a pistol. That's why you have a bodyguard.
Yeah.
So I feel like your answer was spot on. So
Okay. Well,
yeah,
that's good to know.
yeah.
I was just given a highbrow sort of answer, so to speak. He was flashing the gun and showing it off, not anyone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Big up, Rico. Big up, big up. Much love to you. Yeah, yeah. So it's just he's gonna learn. He's young, and everybody makes mistakes. And I just feel like with the time we in now with social media, everybody just looks to hammer, hammer, hammer instead of look to solve, solve, solve. So yeah.
Oh,
So
that's a good
hopefully,
point. Solution.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully his
Very
not
true,
his
Rico.
career is not over. I hope not from this
Yeah.
because it sounds like he's a good talent. And I confession, I'm a big football fan, American football fan. I can't say
Okay.
that
Nice.
I followed NBA that closely, except for like the high names, right? And then I'll watch during the playoffs, right? But yeah, I didn't even realize about a father being more of a brother, and that can definitely play a role because you need to have, like you said, that level-headed person who's not all in the highs or in the lows, but can be that consistent and voice, that constant steady voice when the world, like you said, is pulling you in all of these flashy negative directions. You can have that person that is grounded for you, and if you don't have that person, hopefully he can find or hire that person. But I
Yeah,
do
that's
hope
true.
that it works out for him because as I said before, I want everybody to win. I want
Yeah,
us to win. I want us to be successful. I want us to achieve our heart's desires and our goals that we have. As long as you're not hurting anybody, I want you to win and I want you to succeed. So I
yeah,
hope.
very true, very true. And real quick on the backstory of John Morant, that's not the only issue he's dealing with the NBA. He's been accused of pointing a gun to a 17-year-old kid. I want to say something like that. And then he had another investigation that his entourage pointed a gun at staff members. And so it's a lot of stuff that's been happening in such a short period of time with him. So it's a lot more. So, but we'll see. But, thank you, Rico, and thank you for the compliment. Great interview. Yes, it's a great interview going on right now. So we appreciate your compliment. And thank you, Rico. Much love. So, okay. So the rapid, is there a artist, a song that you play or you like that someone close to you will be shocked? For instance, you have people where it's like, okay, I'll use me as an example. So I spent 2 years in Iowa, and they have a rock band called a heavy metal band called System of the Down.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they had the song Chop Suey.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember how it go like,
I
da-da-da.
don't,
Well,
but I
it's
know the
yeah,
song. I don't remember how it
okay,
goes. I've heard
yeah.
it.
So I like that song. Some a
Yeah,
lot of my friends will probably be shocked at me from the VI would like
that's
that song.
fair.
So
That's fair.
so
I'll give you
that's
that.
yeah. So is there any song or artist that that you a song that you like that your friends would be like, man, I can't you like that song?
Yeah,
That
yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, I enjoy music, right? I
yeah.
enjoy music because actually, when I listen to music, I'm actually choreographing dances in my head, interestingly enough.
Okay.
But that stems from being in Caribbean dance school from the time I was like 2 years old to when I was 18 and I left St. Croix. So when I listen to music, I think I interpret it in the form of choreography. Um, and I actually enjoyed country music or enjoy
Okay.
country music. I like the stories. It's a little less about it's a lot less profanity actually.
It's true.
A lot less profanity, a lot more love songs, and not like love ballads. It'll be a song with a good beat. Their producers have improved over the years. Let me say that. Whoever their producers are, I think they went to African American producers because the songs sound a little bit more on the pop side. You know, they have a better beat, the melody, like the way it's not. It's
Yeah,
not like that.
yeah.
Like it's very catchy, and I like the love songs or love stories. The guy wants the girl, she's dating somebody else. I gotta figure out how to get her. You know, it's relatable. It's something that we may have lived. So I do
Yeah,
enjoy the stories.
understandable. Yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
so like, you know, Rascal Flats
Okay, yeah, Rascal Flats, the
and
big
then
time.
oh gosh, what's his name? I can't think of some of the names because it's been a while since I've gone down the rabbit hole of country music. Because
Yeah,
I was big in country music until I found soca,
soca,
like Trinidad soca, like
Trinidadian soca.
carnival soca in
Yeah,
Trinidad. The first time I went, I was like, "Where has this been all my life?"
you found it. You found it early too, so that's good.
I was like, yeah. So in my 20s, I would say I enjoyed various country music
Okay,
songs.
nice.
Played it in my office, and my assistant would walk in and be like, Doc, what is this? What's this playing? I'm like, this is a good song. The skin up. She was like, okay, okay, Doc.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Country music might be a surprise.
Yeah, that's a surprise. It is. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
surprise. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna throw in this question. Favorite NFL team?
Okay, yes, I was I am a fan of the Washington Commanders, and I had to think about that because I had to
Yeah,
figure out
yeah.
what they're called right now. But my dad, like I mentioned, is from Durham, North Carolina, and he was a Redskins fan, and I was raised to sing "Hail to the Redskins, hail!" So I was singing that as a
Wow,
so I was
true fan.
raised right according
Yeah.
to him. American football. I played co-ed two-hand touch football
Okay, nice.
residency in Philly.
Wow.
I had a great time. Woo, that was fun. I mean, I didn't get hit, you know, it wasn't any padding or anything like that, but it was
Yeah,
two-hand
two
touch.
hand touch. Yeah,
I did flag football during dental school
nice.
as
That's
well. So again, I never did anything major, but I've enjoyed sports, and so I definitely, I definitely uh,
nice.
enjoy watching American football. And right now, the Commanders, as they are called, are my team, which can be tough being a Commanders fan, but that's the team that I was raised into, and I was stuck with it. And
Nice,
funny
nice.
thing, my husband is a Redskins Commanders, fan. And so
Okay,
put that together, it was like, this is gonna work.
perfect. Yeah, he's gonna
I'm not
work.
a
That's
Cowboys
perfect.
fan like my brother.
Oh, that's
my
tough.
my older brother is a Cowgirls fan, and we judge accordingly. It makes for good banter in our household.
Favorite male and female. Favorite male and female actor, if you
Um,
have one. That's if you have one.
I so let me see. And I love a good movie, but I enjoy seeing the work from I enjoy Viola Davis's work. I will say that.
That's a popular one that's
She's a
mentioned a lot.
popular one right
Yeah,
now.
that's good. She
But
does do
Angela
great work.
Bassett is a beast though.
Yeah, she's a legend.
Yeah, I will say that. She's really good. One person I did not expect to be as good was just Jennifer Hudson. I
Oh,
didn't
okay,
expect
yeah,
her to
yeah,
be as
she's good.
good an actress, but like she's solid. Not just for her voice, but like she really gets into character. So I didn't answer your question with one person, but
No, that's okay.
um, and then male. I was a big fan of and it's shameful I can't remember his name, but the young man who was Black Panther.
Oh,
Name is it? popping in my head
I
right
know
now.
you. Yeah, we know what you're talking about.
It's shameful that I remember his name.
Yeah, rest in peace. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
for
definitely.
sure. But he did some pretty like the different roles. He was the token. He was the token black historical actor. He did what? Did he do Jackie Robinson or somebody or
He
he
did
did
Jackie Robinson. Yep.
yeah,
He
he
did.
did
Yeah.
that. And then he did Thurgood Marshall as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I was. Yeah. Chadwick. Yeah. Chadwick Boseman.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Rest in
Shameful.
peace,
I
man.
couldn't
Rest in
get it out of
peace.
my head. It's
Yeah.
like, when people ask you something, you're
Great
like,
man.
only because you asked me, I can't remember.
Yeah. Trust me. I know how it is
But
because I can't remember myself.
right, we both
Yeah.
are like on our
Yeah.
own various like spotlights of trying to remember it. But
Yeah. Thank
but
you. Thank you. Thank you
he
for
did
the name.
Thurgood Marshall as well, and he did, he just was like that guy you just saw doing various roles, and he was very passionate about it. But my husband and I were watching Carmen the other day, and we watched part of it, and that had an actor, not Sidney Poitier. Who was that in Carmen? I'm gonna look it up because he's good. Let me
Okay.
see.
Carmen.
Carmen. It's a opera, um, and a black opera. And let me see here. Da, 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 da. Opera. Blah, blah, blah. It is definitely not trying to give me the names.
Is it
Also a
Paul?
ballet.
Is it Paul Mescal?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Nope, it won't do it. But anyway, he's I think from Jamaica. There he is, Harry Belafonte.
Oh, Harry. Okay. Yeah. Harry
It's a
Bella.
name right? You're like, duh. But it wasn't gonna come to me off the top of my head. But Harry Belafonte, I enjoyed his work a lot. So the classics,
Yeah.
I was definitely exposed to
Yeah. You got
some
it.
classics, and that was good.
Okay.
Has been helping me out, right?
Yeah. 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 I missed the one. I was looking for it too. So I got two more for you.
Yes.
Two more questions.
Okay.
5 guests dead or alive to join you at a dinner table.
Jesus is one.
Yeah. So Jesus is one. That was
I got
quick.
questions. I got questions.
Ah, ah. Yeah, I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one.
Look at this. Look at what's going on here
Yeah.
in this world. You got some splaining to do. No, I'm just kidding. But I got questions. So and then let me see. Queen Mary.
Nice.
Um and I would love to meet like a great grandmother or great grandfather from like either side of my family, and people from Antigua or people in North Carolina or South Carolina with my dad. I'm fascinated by history. Didn't major in it, don't do anything with it now, but culture and anthropology always fascinates me.
Yeah.
And so I would certainly have just tons of questions about their experience and resilience and such like that. Mm, dead or alive? Was it alive as well, you said?
Yeah, like yeah, dead or alive.
So definitely Barack Obama, because Barack
Okay.
Obama.
Yeah.
I've seen him speak several times. I've gone door to door, canvassing for him and whatnot. But I've read all his books, and I would love to have a conversation with him. And also, let me see here. Who else would be good to chat with? I definitely would speak with and probably have a name for this person, but speaking of being coachable, Like I would definitely speak with individuals who are successful with documenting the surgeries, the dental work that they do and the dental procedures that they do. That's something that I know I need to work on. I
Okay.
I'll do work and it'll be great. And the patient will know it and I will know it. And that's it, you know?
Yeah.
And as you mentioned in this social media world, you can create a whole need for your skills on social media. You
That's
put
true.
your before and after photos of people's smiles and stuff like that. And people will if you use the right hashtags, people can search you. And then you have the clientele coming and being able to get your care because you've put it on social media well. And that is something that I have not been good at in my career so far.
Okay.
I have not showcased the work that I do. And so, like I said, I know it. The patient's like, oh my gosh, it looks so great. And that's it. And a part of what I need to do in order to grow my in my field, as well as increase like the patients who are able to find me,
Yeah,
um,
that's true.
to get better at taking the pictures and putting it on social media. So
Yeah,
like I
social
feel like
media.
I might need to get with a coach or someone who can show me what that even looks like. And it's not completely far-fetched to me. And I think that there are entities out there, but that would be, I don't know who this person is, but I know that I need to find that person and get with them so that I can get better on that. And
Yes.
as out there as I am of it, like, my personal life, like I haven't really done that with my career. So I used to be
Yeah,
more.
so more like like Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
like you mentioned, a lot of people would just look at the image and be like, yeah, okay,
Exactly.
yeah.
I
So
can see she does good work. I want her to do my dental work, and I've not done
yeah,
a very good job of that. I have a girlfriend who actually has a pretty good job of that. I need to get on it with that.
yeah,
So that would be something. So a person that I would want to interview, so to speak, would be an individual who can get me up on with that. I think that's maybe four, but yeah, I
yeah.
think from there I would just like speak with um I'm trying to think of a woman that I would like to meet from the past or present without saying Michelle Obama, because that's kind of like a way. I'm like, who else? But without thinking further, I would say maybe Michelle Obama. But
Okay, that's a nice five though. That's a nice five.
yeah.
That's a nice five. I think all you guys gonna be asking Jesus all the questions.
I think we all will
Yeah,
turn to him and be like, all right,
yeah,
you first.
yeah, yeah.
But
It's true.
number one, he's the man of the hour every hour.
Yep. So we have the last rapid question here.
All right.
What you know today, what would you tell a young Alexis?
Ah, yes. Yes, that's a good question. A very good question. You know, and I don't think I've ever told anyone this, but like when I was junior high or so, and you're hitting puberty and all your hormones are changing and you find yourself with insecurities that never existed before and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And my dad used to say, he was like, he warned us, hey, puberty is gonna be rough. You're gonna feel everything and not understand it. We're here to help you navigate through it. And you may not want to hear all of our 2 cents, but we've successfully been teenagers. So hey, we can tell you what it's like, right? And and I would sit there in my bed and I would envision what I would look like and what I would be 10, 15, 20 years from now. What
that's
would this
hilarious.
Alexis look like?
I used to do the same thing.
Did you, right?
Yeah, not
You're
for
just
real.
like,
Yeah,
what is this person that I'm becoming? Things are changing in my body. Like, who am I turning into? And I would say, well, I'm gonna be pretty. And I'm gonna be successful. And at this time in junior high, I wasn't even thinking healthcare or anything, but whatever I did, I was going to do it well. I was gonna have integrity with whatever career that I went for.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was going to be happy and I was going to try to make good decisions. And I think that this is me talking to myself, right?
Yeah.
And so now being 38 years old, if I were to tell Alex to talk to 11, 12, 13-year-old Alexis, I would say, yeah, like you're going to have integrity, you have the right foundation, but trust your instincts a little bit more. I will second guess and triple guess and quadruple guess anything and overthink. And I always admired people, like my best friend, who's fairly decisive, and will be resolute. And I'm like, well, maybe. And so I would definitely tell myself to be more decisive, firm in my beliefs and who I am, and don't take into account the opinions of people who do not have your best interest at heart,
Deep.
or who are not truly there for you. And when you're younger, you have this massive network of friends, right? And your whole class, your whole friend group, it's all this,
Yeah.
your whole class, and everybody is all together. And as you get older, that gets smaller. As I like to say,
It's true.
I curated my circle. I curate my circle now. The girlfriends that I have and the people that are close to me, I have curated over the years. And I would encourage a younger Alexis to curate earlier,
Mm.
because you are a reflection of the company you keep,
Very true.
and to be sure to just believe in yourself as much. And my dad used to call me boy crazy. He said that for quite some time. And I can't say that I would change anything, because in my mind, I was just kind of like, well, I'll see what he has to say, and, we'll talk or whatever, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's probably boy crazy. But for me, I'm like, well, let's see what he has to say.
Yeah,
Then
it's true.
now he can go to the curb, hopefully. And I have to get some encouragement oftentimes to kick somebody to the curb. But that was, another
Yeah.
conversation. But yeah, so I would to summarize, I would be more resolute in my instincts, in my the feelings that I had about people, and run with that, because most often time, like they say, female intuition, tying back to women's,
Yeah.
there's an intuition that we have. A lot of women are more in tune with emotions and feelings and hunches. My husband could say one thing, but if he's like not looking at me, looking off into the fireplace, not like looking at a television or something that's actually like important, but like if he just out somewhere, I'm like, okay, what he's saying is not exactly what's like deep in there, what he's feeling. He's probably not convinced on that. And women are able to pull that out and read that of people.
Mm.
So I would be more confident in the hunches that I would get about people when I
Okay.
would be reading people, and know that that's a blessing to be a woman, to be able to do that and to follow that, because it's most likely guiding you in the right direction.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm grateful for all the experiences I've ever had. I'm grateful for the growth that I've experienced over the years. And I'm blessed to be the person I am today. And I only hope that I continue to grow and better myself and those around me.
Man, that was well said. That was perfect. That was well said. And you ended with growth because you acknowledge your growth.
I'm nowhere near perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect is somewhere far over there.
Yeah.
And
It's far. Yeah.
I'm just trying. I'm just trying
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. It's not. It's perfection is like an illusion when you
Oh
think
yeah, it's
about
not
it.
real. But
Yeah.
my dad has to remind me that sometimes. But I try. I try. And
Yeah.
it's a good effort, and I have to be kind to myself. I have to be kind to myself, not to be as hard on myself. And I feel like sometimes the thoughts that we have in our head can be some damning and damaging words. We
Yeah,
give life and breathe life into other people, and then we'll just beat ourselves up all the time about things. So we have to be kind to ourselves and give ourselves the grace to grow and learn because we're all doing our best.
it's true. We're all doing our best.
Yeah.
That was well said. That was well said.
I'm
Well,
good
and
for a decent line every once in a while.
they, you, man, you were great. You were great. So that's the perfect way to end your episode. To end your story. That was amazing.
Well, I'm
You
glad
know,
you invited me on. I'm glad and thankful to Carrie Ann who
definitely, yeah. Big up to
invited
Carrion.
me, and
Yes, big
I'm
up to
very
Carrion.
I'm very happy with the conversations that we talked about and the topics, and
Yes,
I'm a proud Virgin Islander, and anybody who knows me for 2 seconds gonna know about St. Croix.
yeah, that's good. That's
Trying to
good.
make sure St. Croix is on the map.
You are a great representative. And before we close and we head out, is there anybody you want to show love, big up? Anybody, family members, your friends? If you want to give the
Yes,
names and
yes.
stuff, this is
I
the time for you to do it. So
like I said, I've curated such a circle of girlfriends. I can't name them all, but I love them all dearly. And
yes,
like I said, I wouldn't be the woman I am today without their love and support. And certainly my husband, my wonderful, wonderful husband, who goes along with my crazy ideas and listens to me endlessly as I chat all day. But he's supportive and he's endearing and he is down for me for everything. So I can't do this life without him for sure. And I'm just grateful to the Crucian community that raised me. I know I mentioned Auntie Janice, and there's the whole Pemberton family, like I mentioned, and and Miss Lisa McGrath, one of my mom's closest friends. I mean, just seeing how they loved St. Croix got me to love my island so much. And teachers, Miss Granger, my guidance counselor, she's the one who told me about the park scholarship, you know?
okay, yeah,
So without her, I mean, who knows? I guess I would have either done Norfolk State or continued at UVI, both great institutions, you know what I mean? But I'm glad that my life took me, that she was in my life and suggested NC State. And of course, at the end, I would say to God be the glory.
beautiful, beautiful. Definitely big up to everybody that tuned in and supported your episode. I saw a lot of people watching on YouTube. All you guys watching on YouTube, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Also on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, definitely follow the channel. We have a lot of great episodes, as well too. You guys can always check out the different episodes as well too. But definitely follow, share Alexis story with your family, with your friends. Is a true inspirational story.
If you
A
know anyone
breast.
who's a breast cancer survivor,
Yeah,
any family members who are going through breast cancer, if you have any dental questions, if you know any family members who are in the DMV area, I'll be happy to take care of their teeth. Hit me up, let me know. But I mean, I'm definitely here for the community and everyone who's in your family to help them win.
perfect. Well said. That's what I was gonna say. You said it. Perfect. 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 Everyone have a good night. Be blessed. Be blessed for a new week, and everybody be safe. One love. Much love to everybody.